Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all the listeners of the Good Anime Palette Podcast. The weather is fucking awful outside, but that doesn't matter. Wind, rain, or shine, you know the calendar does not lie. It is spring 2025. We are now going to be talking about some seasonals for episode 104. It's still crazy that we're in the triple digits. We this time around didn't actually watch as many shows. Well, okay, more specifically, I decided not to go on a crazy 30 seasonal binge this time, just because I think the previous season, winter, was like there was a bit of a crapshoot in terms of stuff to watch that I really needed to figure out what was worth discussing, worth sharing. But I think this time around it was a bit more clear the shows that were worth our time and our interest. So still me, Will, still Jason. How are you doing, bud?
Yo, so yeah, I mean, to go all out and like watch every single thing, it's not going to happen all the time. We are not trying to put ourselves through that. We used to do that all the time. So we this time, I don't know about you, Will, but for me, when I first, I guess 2 weeks ago, when I was looking at the slate, it looked horrendous, or at least it didn't. There was nothing that I could, feel or like, oh, this is good. And then I started watching the shows.
I don't know. I mean, obviously the top six very clearly were worth the hype, right? Like second season of Winter Breaker, the third season of Fire Force, the new season of Black Butler. Of course, all the Umu Musume fans, you got a new spin-off title, Lazarus, and personally for us, since we talked a fuck ton about it, Kowloon Generic Romance. But I feel like there were definitely pockets here and there that people could be like, I'm really interested into it. But I agree. There wasn't anything that was
it stands out.
Yeah.
But then when we watch it, I think listeners, when you hear our review of some of our seasonals, you'll probably hear our enthusiasm for some of them especially.
Well, I think it's also just the fact that we're literally just entering the second week of spring. So whatever scores you see right now are probably going to be pretty deceiving. I can pretty much guarantee that the scores you see right now are not going to be how they're going to be at the end of the season and beyond. So if you see something that kind of looks a bit on the low side, especially if something that's in the sevens, I wouldn't really worry too much about it. You should only really worry the shows that you're most interested in are scored anywhere from a 6 or a 5, which just means that their first episode did not bang at all. It was just failure to launch right from the beginning. But without further ado, let's go into the spring seasonal of 2025. So, there are a few sequel shows that come out this season. I believe Jason had watched a couple of them.
Yeah,
I didn't watch any of them just because I'm not caught up with Windbreaker. Even though I can kind of already tell you what the vibe is going to be like. Not to mention the score is better than what it was for season 1. Fire Force, I think Jason, barely. You haven't even finished season 1, right? Or you're still on season 1?
Yeah, I'm still on season 1.
Yeah. So, but it's Fire Force. People love it. So
it's a long hiatus. It's back.
Yeah. So, what sequels do you want to have a quick mention about?
Well, is it Slime 300?
Okay. I've been killing slimes for 300 years and maxed out my level season 2.
It's fine. It's very comfy. It is still business as usual there. In fact, if anything, I'm just going to whiz through all of these season 2s because a lot of them are just business as usual. Windbreaker, as you mentioned, is really good. I watched the two episodes that got released. It business as usual, but obviously stakes are slightly higher because it's season 2. Aharen, because I mispronounced it when off air. Season 2. Still the same thing. Oh, everyone is together now, and they add in a few new characters. How to Become Ordinary season 2, though.
Shosumin series, yeah.
That one is a bit interesting in the sense that season 1 ended on a weird cliffhanger, and then season 2 kind of, let's say, is very different than season 1, but is very welcomed. And I'm excited to see where the rest of it goes.
Yeah, I don't think you really want to talk too much about it simply because it's it's Hyoka author, it's a mystery series. You don't really want to delve deep into it, but it should still pique enough interest.
It looks
where,
fucking pretty.
If you were a fan of season 1, you really should get on to season 2. And if you haven't watched it at all, it's not something that's not worth considering. It's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. There are also like a few things that we. Well, I mean, I watched Uma Musume Cinderella Gray.
Yeah, so tell me about that.
It's good. It's all right. I mean, again, you'd really have to be like a massive, Pretty Derby fan to even consider watching it in the first place. But I feel like if you just stumbled upon it and watched it, you could vibe with it. It looks pretty. It's exciting. It's fun. Again, it's just not something that I'm willing to dive deep into in terms of like the whole lore of Pretty Derby.
Right.
And then there's a few others that I think Jason has either watched a bit of or just flat out is refusing to talk about.
Yeah, so I watched, actually the first seasonal that I watched for Spring 2025 was Catch Me at the Ballpark. And it piqued my interest because it was baseball. And it's literally about those women that have the beer kegs in their back, and then they talk about the stadium and how it operates. So it's kind of it's very slice of life, and the audience that goes there and everything, and how operations work. So if you're into that, that's pretty much what you're gonna get.
Yeah, I think that like the beer keg ladies of Japanese baseball, it's a bit of it's very different from what you get in the U.S. simply because like some of them can be promoted to like idol level. In fact, there actually are like cases of like up and coming idols who actually do a bit of a stint working as a ballpark keg lady, just to sort of build up a fan base there. And there are people that who regularly go to baseball, not just for the baseball, but also so that they can support their favorite beer girl.
Yeah,
that's pretty much the premise of this.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And they focus on one beer girl and a guy that is salaryman that's overworked and kind of their interactions. So yeah, I mean, it's fine. It has like a high 6 point something. So at the end of the day, it is exactly what it is. It doesn't do anything more. It doesn't do anything less. So there's not much to talk about there.
Like it's a decent downtime kind of anime, right?
Yeah, like, okay, if you don't like baseball in stadiums, I don't think you should watch it. That's pretty much it. Or if you're curious, go watch it. But if it's not your thing,
there's not enough of like a weird like sort of like pseudo romance going on there for people to be interested in it, right?
No, it's like, oh, I blush, and I'm like, great.
There are a lot of romance series that have come out this season that are way worth watching. So, tell me a bit more about the Brilliant Healer's New Life in the Shadows, or don't even say anything about it.
So
the fact that you listed it twice in this docket is already like,
oh, I got traumatized. Okay, so the Brilliant Healer's New Life in the Shadows is a very typical story of, I'm a healer, and I'm actually the one that carries the team, and the team is now super famous. And then because they think the healer is useless, they kick out the healer.
That sounds like something that's come out once every 2-3 seasons.
Yeah, and then the healer goes to the slums to live and opens up a clinic to heal people, and it turns out he's super OP in healing. The reason why I watch the show is because generally, like, the other healing type show that is in like fantasy-ish is Redo of Healer. So I was like, I need something else to kind of, balance the Redo of Healer on the polar opposite side. And here's the thing. So I watched 2 episodes of it. The first episode, I have no idea why they did it, but it's one of those things where, well, the first episode, they just jump you straight in as if it was episode 3. And then the second episode is episode 1, basically, and then episode 3 is episode 2. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, so they're doing like a Memento kind of thing.
Yeah, but there's no reason for it.
Right.
And all of a sudden, you see all these characters, and you're just like, who are all of them? I thought I was watching the wrong episode, but no, it was just the way it is, and I think it's a weird decision. But it's all right.
Okay. All right. Skip, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I think the next 2, really, you don't really say anything about, other than they exist, right? Guilty Gear Strive, Dual Rulers, as well as The Beginning After the End.
I think The Beginning After the End, I would want to say a little bit more because I think a lot of people were hyped about it because I think it was a webtoon or a web manga done by some Americans, and it was like super, super hot and hype. And then the 2 episodes came out, and it's really poorly produced, like horrendous. Like, I have a static image of a person, and then they just move no frame of animation. Or they do the thing like, for the people in the know, Queen Bee did a better job with their products than the beginning after the end. And that's how bad it is. So
well, it's kind of tough, especially when you've essentially got Studio ACAT working on it. Like, we've reviewed them before in terms of our annual retrospectives. They just don't really do very good work. And I think that the highest scored work they've done wasn't even like their own thing. They were actually working as a producer as opposed to a studio. Actually, the highest thing they did was called Pastel Life, which is like a really weird 3-minute per episode series that came out 7 years ago.
Oh, shit.
And then the other thing was The Strongest Magician in the Demon Lord's Army was a human, and that came out last year in the summer, and that was only a 6.41. So I think your review of The Beginning After the End, which is a 6.25 at the moment, this one does feel like that's probably going to be a consistent score throughout the season. If not, it may be higher, maybe lower.
Maybe it picks up, but if it maintains the same level of quality, you're looking at a 5 at the end of the day.
Jesus Christ.
Like a 5 point something.
That bad.
I don't understand.
I mean, and it's on Hakuhodo, Crunchyroll. Billy also has a production credit on it as well. So I mean, if it's in China. To be fair though, whenever I go up to the mainland in China, I always see everybody watching some sort of fantasy show. Like, China's big on fantasy animation.
Yeah. And we will talk about some of those shows actually in this episode. But one thing I would like to highlight is apparently some of the budget reports got leaked, and it cost $25,000 per episode. So I don't know if that's high or low, but that does not look like $25,000 worth of investment.
Or maybe that is, and that's why it doesn't look great.
Maybe, yeah.
All right. And then Guilty Gear.
Yeah, I play Guilty Gear. I think the lore is really dumb.
I haven't played Guilty Gear since the first game, actually, I think.
Oh, damn. You're missing out, man. Guilty Gear Strive, I think, is really good. So what they did is essentially, I didn't know why this anime existed until I realized, the titular protag / anti-hero / antagonist is the main character, which is a new character first introduced in the game. So I guess it's just an excuse to promote the product and to promote that character. And that's pretty much it. 3D is really bad. Kind of like Golden Kamui 3D bad. And that's pretty much it.
All right. Okay. That covers the stuff that we talked about, the stuff that we don't want to talk about. So now we can actually go into the series that I think people should really be looking into checking out. Let's start off. There's no real particular order that we're going to go into other than how it's listed in our docket. So let's kick things off with From Old Country Bumpkin to Master Swordsman, based on the ongoing light novel, which is called From Old Country Bumpkin to Master Swordsman. My hotshot disciples are all grown up now, and they won't leave me alone, by Tetsuhiro Nabeshima, who did the art, and Shigeru Sakazaki, who did the story. There was an English adaptation for it that was published by Yen Press as of September 17, 2024. Now, this is a co-production between Hayabusa Film and Passione. It didn't really give too much sort of like score information. Really, again, I think it's good to reference what the MAL score for it is currently, but just know that that's what initial impressions are, so don't use that to sort of dictate how you're going to feel about it throughout the rest of the season. But the manga has a raw score of 7.21, ranked around 6,000, popularity of 2,984, which sounds really bad, but actually, considering how many mangas there are, it's okay.
Yeah.
So what is it? So Beryl, which I always thought was a woman's name. Beryl, a self-proclaimed humble old man, sword guy.
Yeah.
Has a dojo.
Yep.
In the rural boonies of whatever village he's in.
Yep.
As a youngster, he was always thinking, I'm going to be the best swordsman. I'm going to be a master at this shit. But, hey, you're fucking old now. You can't do this shit anymore. Those days are long behind you. But out of the blue,
your old protege comes back, who is like super OP and is like the head of the order of knights, and is like, yo, guess what?
You're that guy now. You're going to be an instructor for the Liberian Order, which is their sort of like upper echelon legion of knights.
The best of the best.
Shit's turned upside down. He's going to head over to the capital and reunite with some of his former students who kind of encompass a group of like elite knights, wizards, adventurers, who are of like the highest rank guild of possible. But so now begs the question: he's just some old country bumpkin. Why the fuck do they want him to be their tutor? Why do they want him to be their special instructor for the Knights of the Liberian Order?
So the premise is basically the guy is really old, thinks he is really bad or okay at his job.
Or it's more just like he's past his prime.
Yeah, exactly. It turns out, though, he is not past his prime. In fact, he is so good that he is still better than his proteges, and they're all like going like gaga over him.
I think what it is one of those, you can be all flashy and, you know, bullshitty with your art and whatnot, but you don't get the fundamentals right. And that's kind of what he is. He's got the fundamentals down.
And what I like about this show is that it is very light, and it is exactly what it portrays to be. It's not like,
it's not a reincarnation story. There's no drama. There's no mystery behind why the fuck this guy is secretly good, even though he's an old dude.
There's no conspiracy.
It's very clear cut what it is.
And I think it's a pretty fun show because it just shows how, like, again, the underrepresented, because Beryl is known as, like, colloquially as the backwater swordsman, which is basically something that even he didn't even know that he was called that.
I'll be very honest. As much as you enjoyed the show,
You watched it?
I did. I watched the first episode. I thought it was okay.
I think it's fine.
In terms of, like, and this just kind of goes with, like, what I've watched. This was actually my least favorite show that I watched,
That's fair.
which is not a bad thing to say. It just meant that, like, the other ones are really damn good, but this works just fine for me.
I think also one thing that surprised me with the first episode was
it was my second least favorite show.
Okay, well, we'll find out the one on the very bottom when we get to it. But I think one thing that maybe is why I feel better about it is because A, I read the manga, and B, I thought the sword fighting would be bad. And it turned out to be okay. It turned out to be pretty okay.
I think for you, it's a positive okay. For me, it's kind of like a lackluster okay. But again, like I can't expect that much from it. It's not meant to be like an action-heavy show anyways.
Yeah, and I don't... It's kind of like I Parry Everything level. You know that show, I Parry Everything?
Yeah.
It's essentially that kind of quality, that kind of premise, and that kind of enjoyment. So if you like it, that's what you're going to get.
Okay. Now we're moving into my unfortunately least favorite show of the season.
Damn.
Now, just to sort of do a bit of a preamble, this is not technically a seasonal. It just so happened that Netflix produced an anime that was released within April. I'm talking about Moonrise, which is an anime original produced by Wit Studio and licensed by Netflix. Don't even need to talk about the score. You can check it out yourself. But there was definitely enough sort of like under the radar hype for it, mostly because of the stacked staff list they have. First of all, it has the producers, directors, and designers from people who have worked on all three earlier seasons when it was still under the Wit umbrella for Attack on Titan and Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress. So that's
shows.
pretty much where the hype comes from, where the sound designer, the music composer were also kind of like working behind the scenes on this show. Very stacked voice acting cast as well. So you would imagine that this should actually be a banger. And that's why there was a lot of hype. But as Jason and I kind of discussed before, like off air, there wasn't a whole lot of promotion for it. As for a Netflix show, it was really weird that we only got trailers for this series 2 to 4 weeks prior to it releasing. And they were only like a minute and a half long. It looked visually great.
I think in some anime festival, it was in a sizzle reel.
It wasn't very much like promoted at all.
Yeah,
and that's why like I think a lot of people, you know, not just on the production side, but also just the fans in general, were pretty let down by it. So I, decided just yesterday, you know what, like I've got, an hour and a half for my lunch break. Why not just have a quick lunch and then just spend the rest of it watching a couple episodes of Moonrise?
So it's a batch release, right?
Straight up, all 18 episodes are out on Netflix right now. All subs, all dubs, whatever your fancy. If you can understand any of these languages, it's pretty much ready to rock. So it's kind of set in the future. It's a sci-fi dystopian series, so very different from what the creators and the workers of Attack on Titan, as well as Cabernaries, because those were dark fantasy,
Right.
Well, maybe less so. Actually, no. Would you say dark fantasy for Attack on Titan?
100% dark fantasy, like grim dark.
Because I was gonna say, because Cabernarii itself is dark fantasy, but it's also steampunk dark fantasy
and zombie.
Yeah, so that's
like what the fuck that is. I don't know, but it's great.
But it's amazing.
It's great.
I think people really should not sleep on Cabernarii, even though it came out like 10 years ago.
They should finish. They should make more.
It's done. It is weird though, because like 2 years ago when I was in Japan, I saw a lot of posters.
Pachinko?
Yeah, pachinko parlors like promoting Cabernarii.
And guess what? That like 2-minute trailer was fantastic.
Yeah, it is great. So set in the future, there is a kind of a weird colonialization of the moon. So it's called well, I don't know what it's just the moon, but the world government is kind of managed by this international AI network called Sapientia. I don't remember how it's pronounced. I don't care. And most of the time, like when people are on Earth, people are living great. Everyone kind of loyally follows whatever decisions this AI network makes because it knows all.
Right.
Friend computer knows everything.
It's just like psychopaths, right?
However, because of the fact that, with these kinds of future dystopias, right? Every time you see things working real well on Earth, it's mostly because of the fact that they've overproduced, they are overpopulated, they're overpolluted, so they need to figure out what the fuck to do with all this overproduction. So they sent everybody off who was either a criminal or like going against AI as criminals to the moon. They straight up
Australia? Yo.
Yeah.
Yo. Okay.
Yeah. So this whole development project basically has been working for decades.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know actually how far into the future it is. I think it's maybe like 80 or 100. I don't know.
Is it kind of like an opposite Elysium kind of thing? Where like the shit is really bad on this planet and everyone else is living the high life on the other planet?
It's more like, it's kind of like that. Everybody's having a great time on Earth and the moon fucking sucks. But this project where they essentially it's really weird. It starts off with like, I'm gonna spoil the first episode because people will. It's all out.
It's the first episode, also, right?
So, in the beginning, when I watched this, I thought this was going to be like kind of Cabernarii-esque because of how low the score was on initial release, and also how much internal hype there was for it.
Was Cabernarii low in the beginning?
It was pretty low compared to like how the Attack on Titan. It was like low sevens. I mean, it's still mid sevens right now. Right?
Anything Attack on Titan is.
But that's the thing too, because it came out in between season 1 and season 2,
right?
And how high season 1 was, and like 6 years later, 2019 or maybe 2017, I think. Yeah, when they released season 2, that lull in the middle, people were like, I need something, and then they was like, okay, well, here's steampunk zombies. This is shit.
Yeah, give me season 2.
But then we watched it like 5 years after it released. Like, this is fucking amazing. I don't know why anybody would hate it.
No, I definitely remember a lot of people.
You remember
that.
how the first episode started with Cabernarii? You're on a train,
Mume,
and then like
does some shooting
throughout the train. Zombies start pouring in,
and
then they're under attack. And then within the first minute, you learn about how the people deal with infected. They just strap a bomb to their chest, pull a cord, boom, chest blows out from the back.
Yep,
right. The first episode starts off on a train on the moon, and they're under attack. So it's just like, this is Cabernarii as fuck, dude. Shit, it's not zombies. It's essentially they're on the moon, and they're on a train, but
they're criminals, so they might as well be zombies.
And then, the people on the train are criminals, and people are like, it's like the lunar forces, like basically like the army are trying to keep them off, like they're because they're deemed as terrorists, right? So they start going in, start shooting shit up, blowing up cart trains, and then all of a sudden, you see 2 children like slowly like limping towards an escape pod.
Yo, what the? This sounds so corny, but go on.
And then one kid gets thrown into the pod by the other kid, and then the kid says, "Okay, do it." Boom. And then a splatter of blood blows across the screen. Ugh. And then the other kid says, "What's going on? I'll see you later." White out.
What?
Then present day.
That's actually kind of dope.
that kid who was in the pod is all grown up, sitting on a grassy field, and then he looks up, smells. It's meatloaf tonight. And then Moonrise. It's set in California, like in LA. So they got like the Beverly Hills and everything like that.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's the high life. It's the high life, right? Where else are you gonna live your ritzy, rich life other than?
Do they have In-N-Out?
I don't.
Do they have an In-N-Out replacement? Because obviously they can't say In-N-Out unless if they pay product placement.
No. I mean, they don't have any, because honestly, they didn't put any budget into that. All right. But after that, they then go into talking about, we have this gala we need to go to. And this is where you start seeing like the whole AI network working. Okay. So all the rich elites, which this kid in the pod who grows up, his name is Jacob Jack Shadow, or Jaku.
Okay.
Right?
Jaku.
Yeah, Jaku Shadow. And then he's been adopted because he just
right, because he showed up.
Rich elite, goes onto a cruise ship.
Okay,
and it's his own cruise ship.
Okay, because he's loaded. Yes,
they're fucking loaded.
Great,
and they're all sitting off to this little island in the middle, but they're not disembarking there. The reason why they're going there is because there's a massive event, which is, I don't know how often they do it. It's where they start sending criminals and shit up into the moon. Now,
it's a catapult elevator to the moon.
Yeah,
this is kind of crazy.
And they're playing craps. They're playing roulette and shit because it's a cruise. So they're gonna gamble out in the high seas
and buffets.
They didn't eat, but loads of women, loads of gambling, that kind of thing.
Open water.
All of a sudden, Jack starts getting a weird tremor in his arm, and then pop out. Weird description. Indecipherable. Yes. No. He kind of blanks out. He sees an image of his friend, the guy who threw him into the pod in his flashback, all of a sudden all grown up and saying, Jack, I finally found you. It's time. We need to do this now. And then all of a sudden, boom, whites out, picks up back on the cruise ship. And as he's trying to get up on his feet again, the little display that said yes, no, just automatically picks yes, fades out.
Okay. And then solo leveling time.
If only it went like that.
If only, yeah, okay.
What happens next is, all of a sudden, the AI portal to the moon starts flashing. Oh, the show's about to start. We're about to see this shit go on.
Oh, great. We gotta get front row seats.
All of a sudden, one guy's like,
wait,
this isn't supposed to happen. It's supposed to flash this color. Why is it yellow instead of green? And then it turns out those aren't flashes of your system working. Those are flashes of grenades and bombs going off.
Yo.
And the whole interstellar fucking portal starts collapsing from the atmosphere down to Earth and starts crushing all of the ships that are underneath.
Like blood and guts, kind of gory kind of thing?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Well, it's not that violent, but definitely it's like, end of the world kind of thing. Right.
Okay.
So Jacob gets thrown into an escape pod again. Oh, it's a submarine with his girlfriend, supposed girlfriend. He treats her like shit. He really does treat her like shit. And then like all his friends are there too. It's like, no, we have to save you. And then like,
why?
Doesn't explain it.
Okay,
just hear me out.
Sure. No.
And then all of a sudden, he's looking through like the little window.
Right.
Yeah. It's a submarine, so he looks outside and he sees his parents.
The foster parents.
Yes.
Or whatever, yeah.
As the main component of the interstellar spaceship crashes onto the ship and destroys everything.
So PTSD.
Whites out.
What?
Wakes up. We found him. Bring him in. Is everyone okay? You're wanted for questioning. Bring him in right now. What do you mean? Whack. Hits him in the face. Knocks out. Whites out again. Wakes up in an interrogation room.
I'm sensing a pattern.
Wakes up in a room. You're onto something now.
Yo, what?
Wakes up in a room. Strapped to like a desk. Interrogators come in. Fucking terrorist. What, you want to destroy everybody here? You should be thankful I didn't shoot you here right fucking now.
Yeah, have you seen Cross Ange? That's exactly what we do.
And then afterwards, it's like, what are you talking about? It's like, we know your background. We know who you are. It seems that when you entered Earth, your DNA changed. And you're not who you are supposed to be. Flash forward. Flash back again. the two kids are walking towards the pot again. Oh, no, not towards the pot. No, it is a moon colony of children. Jack and his friend, who I forgot his name, but it's not important because it's super forgettable because I'm not that far ahead yet. And they're playing on the moon. You know, they're wearing little spacesuits and jumping in low gravity and whatnot.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, explosions, blows up.
And then
because so during that whole thing where like the space pods start breaking down, the leader of the moon, his name is Bob Skylum.
bro, best name ever.
Or I think Bob Skylum.
Okay. So, Will, at this point, all the things that
This
you
is
just,
all episode 1, by the way.
No, I understand. Everything you just described, it sounds crazy, but how does the production look? Like, is it...
I'll get to that. Because I want to go over the story first.
Oh.
I want to go over the story first, because, again, the production part, it needs an aside.
Oh, okay. Because I didn't watch it yet.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm live reacting.
I'm taking you through to everything.
Yeah,
This is how it was for me, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Let's go.
as I'm watching this, you're on the moon. All of a sudden, like Bob Skylum, who is like the leader of the moon, starts like inciting a riot. We are now going to take back what's ours. Our lives on the moon fucking suck. We take back the Earth and we live on it because we've been treated like dog shit. Terrorist attack. Boom. Everything blows up. Right. Flashback to the kids jumping on that moon colony.
Wait. But so sorry. Rewind slightly. So the moon boss, moon CEO, whatever, is now on Earth.
No, he's broadcasting from the moon.
Oh, so he's broadcasting from the moon, but there's still bombs and all that stuff coming into Earth.
Yeah.
And at the same time, he's saying, like, yeah, fuck you guys, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So now we go back into the flashback with the kids jumping on the moon colony. Again.
Sure.
What's going on?
Right.
And then they start playing. It's him, Jacob, and his best pal. I remember his name is Phil. His name is Phil. And they're playing. Another girl comes up to them. This girl's name is... Windy or Shirley or whatever her name is, okay? Because it doesn't matter. Because all of a sudden,
They die.
the moon base blows up. All the scientists and the kids are dead.
Oh, great.
Except for
One.
Jacob and Phil.
Oh, okay.
Both of them are alive.
Okay.
And then they look around and you see the girl's body underneath a scientist. Like, no, go. And they start walking. And as they start walking over towards the body, they see the other children and the scientists are just riddled with bullets.
Jesus Christ.
So they're fucking scared. It's like, okay, shit, please.
How old are they?
They're like 10.
Okay. So
like
it's
9, 10. They're not like super. Imagine like Promised Neverland age.
Okay,
kind of like that.
okay,
right?
okay.
They're at that height of that kind of spunkiness and whatnot. They go over. They yank the soldier off of the scientist off of the girl, and they find that the girl is a robot.
Okay.
It's just an exoskeleton, like Terminator style. And you're like, what the fuck's going on? What who is this? And then Phil grabs him. No time. Go. We have to get out of here now. And then there's a room that was like leading from like the head laboratory. It's like, but Dad said Dad is Bob.
Okay.
Because he's fostered everybody, right?
Great.
Sounds
Sounds like a cult. That's great.
Yeah. You're not supposed to go in that room.
It's the forbidden room.
Who the fuck cares right now? Just go. Goes inside. Realizes that a lot of the stuff that they've been seeing and experiencing has been programmed in their minds. Because when they look outside, they're not on the moon. They're on a spaceship heading towards the Earth or heading towards the moon and whatnot. So is this some sort of weird training facility to get these kids ready and whatnot?
It's like
Who
Ender's
fucking knows?
Game kind of thing.
Who knows?
Okay.
All of a sudden, more explosions go off, and Phil's carrying this shock-ridden Jacob towards an escape pod. Now, this is where you see the whole do it explosion of blood. What happens is there happens to be some sort of like medical robot that can surgically remove limbs. Cuts his own arm off. Phil cuts his own arm off because I think what happened was part of the explosion, it blows off Jacob's arm.
Okay, sure.
So then Phil cuts his own arm off, puts the kid into
Bionic arm. Yeah, okay.
No, not bionic. It's just it's his own human arm.
Okay. Oh shit.
And then sticks it onto Jacob's stump.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And then the robot then surgically. So it's not bionic. It's just transferring one arm to another arm.
Oh, it's a transplant. Okay.
That's where then you start piecing. Oh, that's why his DNA changed.
Okay.
Right? Because he's got some terrorist blood in him or whatnot. I don't know how they find that out.
This sounds like a Michael Bay movie.
Next episode comes in. Again.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
Is the OP banging?
There wasn't an OP for it.
Okay.
I mean, there might have been, but there wasn't an opening.
And I think
here's the thing. Like with a lot of like Netflix productions, like specifically Netflix productions, they don't have an opening. They just go anime wise. They just go straight into it, and then they have an ED.
Right.
Right.
How long is each episode?
29 to 39 minutes.
Okay.
Anywhere from 25 to 39 minutes.
So longer than a typical TV broadcast anime.
Some are long. Some are like just at the 25-minute mark.
So whatever Netflix decides.
I'm not done
basically.
yet, by the way.
No. I'm
because as soon as that episode ends, white out, white in. Jacob is now part of a
fleet.
Yeah,
What?
where they're going to basically avenge the Earth and fight on the moon. And I'll stop you there because that's
what?
Yeah, he is now a counter-terrorist soldier within a unit. And you remember how I said that there were a lot of his friends that threw him into that submarine, and they were still on the boat when the fucking spaceship crashes onto it?
when everyone was rich and happy.
Yeah, they're all alive for some reason.
Oh shit!
They're all alive. They're all part of the counter-terrorist unit that Jacob is in right now.
So is it a simulation or not, or what the fuck is going on?
I don't know. That's
okay.
only episode 2.
All right.
And that's where I'll stop.
Okay.
So it all sounds fucking batshit crazy.
Yes, it does.
It sounds like it could be really fucking good.
It sounds really fun.
The problem is none of it is written well. In that, like, when you're trying to connect from one part to another, it feels like they're just kind of throwing things in there and hoping it sticks. Like the whole flashback in, the whole, oh, these people I saw were on the boat when it fucking exploded, but they're somehow alive. So it's not necessarily like.
Is it done on purpose?
It could be. Again,
okay.
There's like another like 16 episodes I need to watch. Right.
Sure. Are you gonna watch it?
It's just the fact that it's just kind of poorly written. Like,
okay.
Like with these kinds of sort of like memory lapse, time lapse kinds of shows,
inconsistent narration kind of thing.
Exactly, yeah. Right? Like, is this protagonist really someone that you can depend on? Is this person,
or what you're seeing is
I hate to bring up Dead Space again because I know I talked to you a lot about this, but
Dead Space is great.
It's like Isaac Clarke, and where it's like, is the shit he's seeing really real, or is a lot of it just in his head? It's basically this. And I feel like the way you connect those things, it has to be written really well. And I don't think they do it well in the first 2 episodes. Now, whether they're going to save it over the rest of the season, who knows? That's kind of where I stand in terms of the story. It's got amazing plot lines.
What do you mean by amazing plot lines?
In the fact that you've got a terrorist unit that's trying to take over the
Lunarians or whatever.
And then you have like this kid who is on both sides, genetically modified because of the fact that he has another arm on his body, and he needs to figure out whether he actually is going to fight alongside the people he grew up with, despite the fact that he had distorted memories and realities, or is he going to avenge the people on Earth, despite the fact that he's by any means like a foster child.
That sounds like a decent premise, to be honest.
It's not strung together really well.
You know what it reminds me of when you describe that whole sequence and you kind of said your piece about like how disjointed it is and how poorly written it is. It reminds me of like when I was a kid and I have all these action figures and I'm in the bathtub and I am at like minute 20 because I don't want to get out of the tub. And I decide to put this action figure,
at that point. Okay.
And then that figure, and then they just mash, and then they go, okay, but then she falls under in the water and dies, but then I put her back up, and it just sounds like that. It sounds like it's cool in that person's head, but then in actuality, in practicality, it's like, what the fuck are you thinking?
Yeah, it's visually amazing.
Okay,
the action sequences are really good because a lot of the fights that they have that take place on the moon, remember. It's going to be low gravity. And they do it quite well in the sense that when someone gets shot in the head and they float, they actually do float. They don't just drop down.
Oh, and the droplets kind of just...
Yeah.
Okay.
So those things are done well. They do a bit of like a Deus Ex Machina kind of thing where it's like, well, how do they move really well? So they have these little plates on their feet, on their armor, where essentially, like, I don't know if it's magnetic. I don't know if it's like super gravity or whatnot, but essentially it allows for them to be able to
move.
MacGuffin. Yeah. Basically, we need to figure out something that makes it seem realistic that they can move freely on this moon, so we're going to give them that power.
Right.
Done. But like, all in all, visually it is spectacular, as you would expect from Wit Studio. It looks great. It sounds great. The sequences are done so smoothly. I'm just kind of disappointed in terms of how the story was put together. Now, of course, so the director for this is Masashi Koizuka, who wasn't necessarily the main director of Attack on Titan, but he did have like a pretty big part in like the latter seasons. He was a pretty pivotal part in Cabaneri.
He's a vet. He knows his shit.
And you've also got George Wada, who is the CEO of both Production IG as well as Wit Studio.
Yeah, I remember that last name.
Yeah, and then you've so with Kozuka-san, right? He's not only the director, but he's also the scriptwriter. He's also the storyboarder. He's also the series composer. So everything is pretty much on this guy's plate. And I felt that he just did too much.
So I just checked. Netflix seems to have some sort of deal with Wit Studio in particular.
It's been yeah, we reported on that like
right.
several years ago. Yeah.
Whether it is that, I think the animation program, I think there is also Vampire in the Garden, Bubble. I'm just naming a few on top of my head. What is it? I think there's the Grimm variation. I think Vampire Garden I talked about like ages ago. And all of these are exclusively on Netflix.
Great Pretender.
Oh, yeah, Great Pretender. Oh, actually, I would say that one's the best one.
Spy Family's on there, too.
But Spy Family is, like, not exclusive on Netflix.
Not exclusive,
right?
but, I mean, like, they definitely get a lot. I mean, even, like, Ranking of Kings is on there, too.
Yeah.
Right? So they definitely, whether or not it is, like, exclusive or not, you can tell that they have a strong partnership in that Wit Studio is probably going to put a lot of stuff on Netflix. Vivi was on there. Spy Family's on there. A lot of the Pokemon stuff they worked on as well.
But the thing is, right, Moonrise is an anime original. Vampire Garden is an anime original. What else? Great Pretender. Bubble. And all those, I think, are like,
Okay, Great Pretender was really good later on, after they got over, like, some of the mixed stuff. I mean, like, it is very highly rated now. But Bubble, mixed. Vampire in the Garden, you watched, you were mixed about it.
Yeah. I think Grimm Variation was mixed.
So with this one, the score being a 6.86, yes, it is literally only like 3 days as of recording 2 days as of recording since it released. But I wouldn't doubt that there's somebody out there that has just binged everything in one go and decided to give it a raw score. So the score is not fully reflective of what it is now, but it does give you a more clear indicator simply because all the episodes are out.
Right.
So a 6.86 as of today, which is April 12th, and then you're listening to this when this releases.
On the 15th,
It'll probably change. I need to watch more.
So you want to watch more?
I do, just because like there's enough for me to be interested in seeing where this goes, but it's also very likely that by the end of it, I'm just as disappointed as I am now, if not more disappointed. But it's also just the fact that it looks great. It looks really good. It's just let down by bad writing.
Bubble is like that too. Vampire Garden is like that too. I cannot emphasize that enough. It just seems like there is something that is just missing there or lacking.
I think it's just originals. It's hard to find like the right formula for it, but it's also not the only thing you can blame, right? You can't just say bad writing, originals are going to be like that. No, I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I think it's just high expectations with stacked staff voice casting,
really bad promotion or lack thereof.
Yeah. So, we spent like 20 minutes talking about this. So I think, look, Moonrise, I think you should give it a chance, but if you don't enjoy it, you can fully blame me, because I am trying to talk it up and see if anybody would be willing to give it a chance. I'm barely giving it a chance.
I'll take a look at the 3-episode rule. I'll do that.
Yeah, I really think it's worth seeing and then making a decision then.
So now we go from originals with this unique to now the generics, which is Kowloon generic romance. Will and I, we won't wax lyrical about all of the general info because we did that for our ASAP. What we will say, though, it is that is produced by Arvel Animation.
It looks good.
And the anime score, which obviously is the new information,
Is the exact same as the manga.
It's crazy. 7.84. Both are ranked 950. Okay, wait. The source might be a bit lower because I just realized that it was the exact same score.
Oh, did you just copy it over?
I think I just copied it over. But I think 7.84 is definitely the seasonal score.
7.83 now, actually.
Okay. Well,
7.73 is the manga.
I see.
But popularity is 7.759 for the manga.
So-
3,000. Yeah.
For context, usually if it's in the 1,002 to 3,000, that's when it kind of is like some attention versus like something that is a bit more niche.
So let's move the stats to the side and let's just talk about how this anime adaptation looks.
It looks great.
It looks really good.
It looks fucking great.
My only issue is that it probably doesn't capture enough of the hustle and bustle that you saw in some of the cells in the manga, which understandable. It's only one episode. You're not going to be able to fit everything in there.
You know what? It's funny you say that because I was hoping for more ambient sound, like just press record on the streets of Hong Kong or something like that, and then just put it like, in a low volume in the background. And that would have dramatically, in my opinion, enhanced the atmosphere of it, especially when they're walking around, eating dumplings, going through all of the different corridors and hallways. But one thing I will say, though, is that it is really, really nice adaptation.
Yeah.
At least with the first episode that we watched.
My only concern is the pacing.
Mm.
Because the first episode is literally the first volume.
Yes. I also expected them to end on there, too, because it's just a nice way to end a first episode, I think.
Yeah, to actually like sort of straight away give you like the gist of what this series is going to be, where it's not just a generic romance. It's far from generic. Set in Kowloon, though. So they definitely capture a lot of the essence of what the manga does in terms of building the relationship between the two characters of Reiko and Kudo.
Reiko also voiced really appropriately to how I envision her to sound like and act. I think it's really good.
Yeah, I think the voice acting picks were good. Were perfect for this.
Yeah.
I think not much else to say, really. It's great. Look, as much as it's very much personal for both Jason and I, because we're both from Hong Kong, we both love Kowloon City, and therefore it makes sense for us to wax lyrical about it. I think it's a nice change to like the scenery in terms of something that's not predominantly set in Japan or something that's set in like a fantasy world. This is very much a realistic setting, albeit a more fictional depiction of it.
With some science fiction mixed in, kind of. But yeah,
it's good.
It's good. What I would say is this is probably one of the more the first or second show that I'll recommend anybody to watch.
Yeah, I'm pretty hyped about it in terms of continuing. I'm watching it with my wife.
It's great.
Yeah, we're going through it episode to episode now. We're waiting for the next episode to drop tonight.
So, the next show that we're going to talk about...
No, I'm not talking about it.
I'm going to talk about. Same how Will is quote-unquote breaking the rules that we laid for seasonals to talk about on Netflix, I'm going to talk about an ONA that is technically not considered an anime new show, but it is new, and it is seasonal.
Is it also considered an anime?
So, it is essentially a Chinese anime. It is called To Be Hero X. It's an anime original, and this is going to be a mouthful. Produced by PB Animation Co. Limited, Land Studio, and Paper Plane Animation Studio. Here's the thing, guys. The anime has a raw score of 8.53, rank 127 with 55,000 members, so it kind of has a very stable score. So it's not just like 3 people giving it a 10, and then all of a sudden the 4th person gives it a 1, and then it becomes like a 9 or something, I don't know. And when I saw that, I was like, what is this? And I think a lot of people were talking about it. And then I watched the first episode. Do you like Arcane?
No.
Will?
No. Okay. That's unfair. I'm just not interested in Arcane.
Okay. Do you like the aesthetics of Arcane?
Oh, absolutely. That you can't deny that.
So, what if I tell you that the aesthetics of Arcane mixed with 3D animation, mixed with 2D animation, mixed with color and black and white, and all these different art styles are meshed together in what should have been a very generic and boring story, ends up being this really fast-paced, really well-produced, and kind of crazy.
So I'm kind of confused because I'm looking at the trailer and there's a mixture of 2D and 3D. Yep. So how does that actually play out when you're watching the episode?
It just somehow works. I don't know how to explain it. And then there's 3D on top of it, and then there is arcane-looking visuals, and then it goes back into like black and white. It's a mix mash of different art styles to kind of symbolize different things.
Right. So what the fuck is it?
Okay. Will, tell me if you've heard this before. There are heroes in this society.
Okay, all right. So it's a superpower kind
of
show, right?
I mean, to be Hero
X. It's in the name.
And how you gain power is by faith and by belief. So if you read American Gods by Neil Gaiman, it's kind of like the same thing, where like if the people believe in you, or if you're more popular, you will then become more powerful, and then therefore you can save the day better. And then cuts to our main titular character, which again, I'm going to spoil the first episode, or at least parts of it, but it doesn't really spoil that much. Anyways,
it's in the title, right?
Exactly. So
the main character is X.
Not yet.
Ah.
So our main character is Lin, I think.
Okay.
And he is essentially an advertisement agency kind of guy for the biggest superhero ever, called Nice. And guess what? The hero, Nice, looks kind of nice. You know, with silver jet hair, you know, really thin and suave, has a girlfriend called Moon, I guess, for some reason. And she is a superhero as well. So, why is that relevant? Because all of a sudden, when Lin was like going on the roof and like chilling, he sees Nice out of nowhere, just flies down like a superhero would, and jumps off the building and dies. And then that's the first 3 minutes of the show. And then comes this kind of parent trap, because it just so happens that Lin kind of looks like Nice, if you change the hair and stuff. And over time, it becomes this story of like the Prince and the Pauper, of he now becomes Nice, and over time, people believe in him, and then he becomes literally the hero that he wants to be, and the hero that Nice is supposed to be, and it almost doesn't matter who he is before. So why is that relevant? Why is that important? Because there is the antithesis of belief and hope, and that's fear. You know, black venom fear, to be precise. And it consumes people, and then they turn into villains, essentially. I don't know what else to say. It's the most generic bullshit plot, but it is probably the most fun and the most visually interesting show I've seen in a while.
So it's made great strides in terms of it actually being a sequel, or kind of. So there are like two prequel series. So To Be Hero, followed by To Be Hero, To Be Heroine, and then now to Be Hero X.
I watched one of them. Yeah.
So To Be Hero started off with a 6.94, then To Be Heroine ended with a 7. But both of them were solely produced by Land Studio. And To Be Hero X then added PB Animation Co. Limited, as well as Paper Plane Animation Studio, and now it's jumped up like fucking 1.53 up to 8.53 now.
Now, let me also tell you one thing about the pacing of the show, since you mentioned about Moonrise. The pacing of this show is fucking fast. Like, you know, there's not even a training montage for Lin to become Nice. He just twirls, lifts up a weight or two, and then boom, right away he is Nice. He's a superhero. Boom, right away he is now all of a sudden whisked away into a talk show for some reason. Boom, all of a sudden things happen at 1,000 miles a minute, and it kind of is like, if you are, you know, ADHD-esque, this show is for you, because everything moves so fast that you cannot even think about, wait, but how did that happen? Just don't worry about it. That happened. Just accept it and move on to the next thing.
So it's not as egregious as Moonrise, where like things happen really, really fast, but it's unexplained and you're kind of confused by it, and you actually need to know it. Whereas this one, it doesn't really matter if you understand it or not.
Yeah, and it's simple in a way that it doesn't really give you these crazy philosophical ideas. It's
pretty straightforward.
Yeah,
right? Hero want to be good, villain want to be bad. And hero fight villain, villain fight hero.
Yeah, and if you have value in terms of belief, so the more that you believe, the more you're stronger, and then the more you're fearful and hatred, the more evil you become, and then you eventually become a monster, and then the heroes have to fight you.
Simple.
Exactly.
Okay.
What is really good about this show is how it looks and how it feels.
I think that's the general theme between Lazarus and To Be Hero X, and that both of them look really fucking good. It's just that I think Moonrise has a more convoluted story, which has so far failed to impress.
Wait, you said Lazarus just now.
Oh, sorry, Moonrise. Because I was actually going to talk about Lazarus next. Speaking of which, we're actually very close to the hour mark now. Do we want to go into a break, or do we just want to steamroll?
Yeah, just steamroll it.
Okay, right. So,
because we still
To Be
have
Hero
like
X,
a lot.
if you have any way to access it, look, Chinese fans, it's on Bilibili, I'm sure.
Yes.
Okay, done. Now, did you watch Lazarus?
No.
Lazarus is an anime original by Shinichiro Watanabe, produced
Who is
by
that
Nappa.
guy? Ooh.
Yeah, so I don't even need to introduce this guy because we already we talked about this guy many, many times. So, this is sort of only broadcasting on Adult Swim. I was able to watch it, VPNs and all that. What is this all about? Set in the distant future again.
Okay.
Kind of dystopic in the sense where like it's peace and prosperity.
Will, I'm going to cut you off.
Don't cut me off.
Sorry. Can I just ask one question?
Sure.
Is it Cowboy Bebop 2.0 or not? Is it?
That's an
That's
overreaching kind of question because I feel like a fair amount of Shinichiro Watanabe stuff is Bebop, but it's because it's his first thing.
Yeah,
but
or is more famous. Most famous.
I mean, I'm not gonna entertain that question just because then it would kind of remove the shine from Lazarus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I take back that question, and now you can move on.
Yeah. Don't cut me off.
Sorry.
So, set in the future, Earth is great. Earth is fine. Everybody is happy, prosperous, and it's because sickness and pain do not exist.
Great.
There was a drug called Hapna, which is developed by Dr. Skinner. All right.
Sure.
A Nobel Prize winning neuroscientist, where this miracle cure-all drug just fixes everything. No more cancer, no more debilitating diseases, no drawbacks.
Is it a pill?
Doesn't really show how it's done. It's
Okay.
just basically they consume it somehow, right?
Okay,
Whether it's intravenously injected or just consumed. Maybe it could be through the ass. I don't know.
So it's a literal panacea.
Never really explains how it's taken. It just exists.
No, panacea is a cure-all. That's what I mean. Like it fixes everything.
It's ambrosia.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. However, after the drug is introduced, Dr. Skinner vanishes. 3 years later, he comes back and has a message for the world. Y'all fucked now because this drug I gave you, I gave it a really, really short half-life so that after 3 years of consuming it, you will die. And there's no cure for that. A cure-all drug with no cure for it.
Okay.
So, in response to this threat, the government, whichever agency, I don't even know if it's actually the government. I think it's just a special task force, essentially puts together 5 agents from around the world to try and defeat Skinner and solve his crazy plan to just destroy and kill everybody on this earth.
Does he have a motivation for it, or we don't know yet?
I mean, it's only been episode 1.
Got it.
Yep. So, this group is called Lazarus.
Okay.
And what are they going to do? Are they going to be able to find him in time? Because there's only 90 days before the world ends.
Okay.
So you get introduced to the first main character, which is Axel Gilberto, a Brazilian man who spent around 3 years in jail for minor charges, but has essentially, because the fact that he keeps trying to break out, gets caught, breaks out, gets caught, he's racked up life sentences totaling up to 888 years.
Jesus.
Yeah. he just is able to break out of prison no matter. I think it's like a cheap thrill for him.
So he's a prison break. He's Michael Scoville.
He's a parkour expert.
Yo.
Yeah, really straightforward. He's a friendly guy, but he's also kind of like a
Spike,
a solitary dude. Just hey, don't
fuck with me. Just let me
let me do my thing.
Okay.
Right. And so they basically track him down. They want to bring him into this task force, but lo and behold, because he's really good at escaping shit,
he's elusive.
he manages to break out of the prison again.
Okay.
Now, this task force, which includes Doug Hadeen, a young Nigerian man who is essentially the coordinator of the Lazarus team, Chris, who is a young Russian woman who is known for being a skills like markswoman.
Okay.
Is basically skilled with any firearm whatsoever.
Okay.
Leland, who is a young Canadian boy who is just really good at piloting drones. He's the tech. He's the tech guy of the group. And Elena, who is a young girl from Hong Kong. Who is
what?
Yes, she's very, very, very. She just doesn't like to talk to people. Has trouble communicating to people, even trying to get into conversations. But she's basically the best hacker in the world.
Okay.
Right. So
crack
all
team.
Five, yeah. So throughout episode 1, they try tracking down Axel, and in the end, they manage to capture him and bring him into the task force. Well, he hasn't agreed to join in yet, but you kind of figure that's going to happen in the next episode.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty straightforward. World's about to end. 5 people go up and try and stop the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Hilarity ensues. What makes this show worth watching, or in my opinion, kind of underrated? It is underrated in the sense that, like, I feel like the score itself is good. It should be a little bit higher.
Do you think it should be past an 8?
Maybe 7.9.
Okay.
It has because again, only 1 episode's out.
Sure.
And I think a lot of people, especially on like Mal and on r/anime, any sort of like messaging boards or
forums
and whatnot, they're all kind of saying, "Oh, this is his weakest work," which is kind of like they felt disappointed that like it's been so long since he released something. And remember, the last thing he released was that music anime. Forgot what it was because he did.
Music. Metallic Rouge?
No, absolutely not that one.
What music? Oh, Carol and Tuesday? No.
Carol and Tuesday.
Carol and Tuesday?
Yeah, Carol and Tuesday.
Okay.
That was the last thing he did. And that was back in 2020, 2019. So 6-year hiatus. He's now back with a new the science fiction action.
And original, too.
All of his works are pretty much original as fuck. It looks great.
Does it sound great?
You know, with a Shinichiro Watanabe, it's going to sound amazing. Now, again, this comes down to your own personal preference because every production he's made has a specific kind of genre of music, right? With Samurai Champloo and doing the hip hop, with with Cowboy Bebop and jazz funk, right? Space Dandy with the more sort of like electronica kind of pop, and Carol and Tuesday being acoustic, Kids on the Slope being jazz again, actually,
but
right?
Classic jazz.
So the music is done by 3 world-renowned artists: Kamasi Washington, an amazing American jazz musician, as well as Bonobo and Floating Points, who are British royalty in electronic music. So you get jazz notes here or there. You get like sort of like melodic house music on one side. You have like a little sort of like mellow techno going on during like certain fight scenes. The only issue is that sometimes the music kind of plays a little bit too long. And so whenever people are talking or there's like a specific sequence where you kind of want to focus on things, the music's still there. So personally for me, I love the music, so I'm completely fine with it. But I can see for some people that maybe it's a bit overbearing. But visually, it looks great. I mean, Mappa's doing it alongside Sola Entertainment. So Mappa is the animation studio, whereas Sola Entertainment is the production studio for this whole production.
I see.
So it all comes together under one big house where you have a great studio, you have a great director, one of the best in the business, and you also have 3 world-renowned musicians putting together the music. everything works out so well. I absolutely loved watching the first episode of Lazarus.
Okay.
I can see where people might be a little bit disappointed in terms of it not really hitting the high notes of like Bebop and Samurai Champloo, but those ones have had time to actually grow their profile.
Like if I were to just show you the first episode, actually, the first episode of Samurai Champloo does hit, but I think the first episode of Cowboy Bebop is not as crazy.
My guy, the bathroom scene comes out, pops in the head, little red vial. That was all in the first episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's been ages.
It was a great episode, too.
What the first episode of Kowloon Tuesday was okay, if I remember.
Space Dandy is Space Dandy.
Space Dandy is just crazy.
Kids on the Slope is great. And like I thought that the first episode hit, too. But I feel that it definitely needs more time to grow. And that's essentially the sort of theme of today's episode, which is literally everything only has 1 or maybe 2 episodes out. So it's really hard to pass judgment. I'm not including Moonrise here because Moonrise is a batch release.
Sure.
But absolutely no problem in recommending Lazarus, especially the American fans. Y'all got Adult Swim. Watch it. No hesitation whatsoever.
Okay.
Moving on to the next one. This is on you now, Jason. I want to see how you pronounce this.
So, Mobile Suit Gundam.
Redacted.
No, don't say that.
Oh, I just realized what I just said.
Do not say that.
I don't know. GQ.
Apologies.
Can we cut that, actually?
No, it's fine. The reason why is because it's spelled GQuuuuuuX.
6 U's.
So
yeah.
is it GQuuuuuX? Is it GQuuuuuX?
Is
it Quux?
They say
definitely not
it.
Gooks.
They say it in the anime, and it's really bad. Again,
wait. Did they actually pronounce it as Gooks in the anime?
No, they pronounce it something, but it was like, you know how they say Jaku and then for Jack.
Oh.
It's not.
It's Guksu.
Something like that. Yeah. It's,
okay.
It's odd.
Let's just say, look, MSG, like, you have loads of subtitles for all your fucking anime, but like this one, you really dropped the ball.
Again,
this one.
apologies for that. I did not realize what I was doing. Anyways, what I will say, though, this is the 16th installment of the Gundam franchise, the second in a row, after which from Mercury to feature a female lead, and produced by Sunrise and Studio Kara. Has a MAL score of 7.68 and rank 1357. So, when I watch this show, the thing that you have to emphasize is what happens when you mix cage fighting with Gundams, and it just so happens that everyone is Fooly Cooly.
That's just cage fighting with Gundams,
right? And then you add in Fooly Cooly flair to the point where they add in Foolytopia, as in like Wikipedia.
So I'm actually interested to hear how you describe this because you don't like Fooly Cooly.
I don't like Fooly Cooly, but it looks pretty nice. It looks very colorful and vibrant. And here's how.
Just for the record, I don't like Fooly Cooly either.
So, to explain the storyline, at first I did not understand, and then now that I do, I feel like it's really hard to explain. So
then don't explain it.
Well, no, I'm gonna attempt. I'm gonna try. So, Will, do you know a very well-known Gundam antagonist called Char?
Yeah.
That has like a metal hat and stuff. So, back then in Mobile Suit Gundam, there was a certain timeline of him basically losing. But what if that timeline gets altered and instead of him losing, he won? And then now there is this red Gundam that is on the loose. And there is all of these weird hacking kind of things that you put into the Gundam to kind of upgrade. And then there's illegal cage fighting with Gundams to earn money. And your two main characters look like is panty stocking garter belt mixed with Fooly Cooly.
So far, it doesn't sound like Gundam at all because you're just throwing out other anime.
Because I honestly feel like it is not really Gundam. And it's the score of 7.68 I think is very appropriate.
To be fair, a lot of people don't consider Iron-Blooded Orphans to be Gundam either, but you know.
Yeah, so maybe, and then Witch from Mercury, I think in the beginning everyone was a little bit hyped, and then in the middle it kind of died down, and then it kind of came back. So it's really hard to say with the first episode, but what I will say is There's space battles. It does look quite nice. The animation is very Fooly Cooly-esque, meaning everything looks very fluid, and the character designs look like they are what's that?
They're from Fooly Cooly.
Yeah, what is that squid game that where like the squid they ink they splatter ink on the
Splatoon.
So imagine like the characters kind of looking like that.
I like that you said squid ink, and I was like, oh, it's Splatoon. All right.
Yeah. So what will I think about the show? I think the show looks really pretty. And the show doesn't really do a lot in terms of convince you that, oh, this is the one that is going to revolutionize, Mobile Suit Gundam. But it sounds interesting, but there's not enough for people to really latch onto anything other than it was a very decent first episode.
Can I ask you an honest question?
Go.
Is the only reason why you watch this because it's got a female lead?
No.
Because I feel like that's kind of why you watch Witch from Mercury, but we never talk
That one
about,
for sure.
because we never really talk about MSG at all, unless it's on a cleanup or like a to watch list thing.
If I want to expose myself, the real reason why I watched it was because of the subtitle of the show.
Not the way you pronounced it.
Yeah,
but
the
way...
GQ with 6 U's and an X. I need to know why. And it turns out it has nothing to do with anything.
The only reason why you picked it is for the dumbest reason. But
yeah.
Hey, look, if it's enough to get you to watch anime, why not, right?
Yeah.
It worked on you.
So, hey, I'm in. I want to see more.
So, non-MSG fans, or just like, you're not into mechas or not into Gundam, what does this do for them? Because you're not necessarily like against mecha. You're not like a non-mecha fan. Like you definitely watch some mechas and you like it.
Even
MSG, you also appreciate some of the Gundam series too, right? But
yeah.
If someone is not into this whole sphere of Gundam / mechas, is this something that's worth checking out?
So
I don't, because you mentioned it's like it is. It feels as un-Gundam a Gundam show.
Yeah. So again, I'm assuming the majority of this Gundam fighting is this cage match stuff, which they don't show at all in the first episode. They just mention it, and it's going to happen, and they do it. As in, like, oh, let's go and fight in the cage match. But then they don't show it. And I think this is one of those shows where if you're into Fooly Cooly, it's pretty much that vibe, minus the absurdity of it all, but putting it into a realistic sci-fi setting.
But then that's the very essence of Fooly Cooly, though. It's the absurdity and the insanity of it. So when you remove that, then you're just left with the aesthetics.
Yes, and I guess
so. I find it hard if you are a Fooly Cooly fan to enjoy them, because I feel like is the major component of why people watch Fooly Cooly. I guess if you appreciate the aesthetics of it, then maybe.
Yeah, it's.
You said it was really hard to describe what this anime is about.
Yeah, like I don't even know, because you thought the main pilot is the main character, and he actually doesn't pilot the robot at all, and then obviously the female protagonist goes in and somehow everything works as intended.
What you just said over the last 5 minutes does not sound like Gundam at all.
Yeah.
It really does not.
And that is what I think is the whole point, at least at this moment in time, which is to get more people into Gundam. And I'm assuming with the second female protagonist of in the history, that's exactly what it does. And it does it very well. But whether or not it becomes, I think all the Gundams that I know, Mobile Suit Gundams, eventually expands into this government conspiracy, major space galactic battles. I don't know, at least if it will ever get to that, because it sounds like it's very contained with all these cage matches, and then I guess there are some space battles here and there. It's really weird.
It sounds is like when you say cage matches, does it kind of give you vibes of like Megalobox? It's not like that, right? No, not at all. Okay.
Because like there's like Gundams who cannot shoot weapons called Mavs, and then I don't know.
I mean, we have no video for this, but Jason's face is getting more and more like scrunched and confused. It's like you're really trying to pull words out to describe this thing, but it's like you can't fully explain it. The only thing you can do is to watch it and see it.
Yeah,
for
there's
yourself.
like a Team 6 thing that they're like above like the space.
Wait, they got influencers and whatnot?
Yeah, they're just like, yo, what should we do? Let's send the Gundam.
Is Jake Paul in this?
No, I don't know.
Okay, good. Keep him away from this shit.
But
bottom line, is it a recommended show?
yes,
Okay. Despite how confusing the plot description was.
because it just kind of throws everything at you.
It's just one of those things where you really have to see to believe.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Moving on to the next seasonal, Anne Shirley, based on the children's novel Anne of Green Gables by Lucy Maud Montgomery. Now, this story was written 113 years ago. It debuted in 1908, which I don't think anybody listening to this was alive, unless there's someone that is magically 113 years old. I'm not even going to talk about like its source and whatnot, because there's so many adaptations of it, including TV series, movies, manga, and now an anime. This anime is produced by the Answer Studio. The score right now is pretty damn high, but I want to put that to the side because I want to talk about Anne Shirley. So she's an 11-year-old orphan. Basically was part of this program where she was from Nova Scotia.
Okay.
Y'all can tell I'm a little bit excited about this because I'm not sure if anybody's heard about this, but I'm a Canadian.
Okay.
No, everybody knows. I've said this multiple times. So she's from the far East Coast of Canada. This is like during the part of history where there was a lot of transatlantic migration from the British Isles. So a lot of Irish, a lot of Scottish had started moving over into sort of northeast of Canada. So like Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, Labrador. Yes, that's an actual area in Canada, Labrador.
And a dog.
Newfoundland.
Okay.
I don't even know if Labradors actually come from Labrador in Canada. But you just imagine that it is sort of very much like British migration into the northeast of Canada, and Anne Shirley happens to be one of them. So she essentially gets adopted by the Cuthbert house. So Marilla and Matthew Cuthbert, siblings. They're not a couple. They're siblings. They essentially enlisted to adopt an orphan to help them work the fields. Now, to work fields.
Okay.
Primarily, they wanted a boy. However, when they saw this bright, redhead, energetic, enigmatic, imaginative young girl,
let's go.
They were pretty. No,
They were sold.
They were no, absolutely not.
Well, they weren't.
Matthew was kind of like feeling bad because, look, the last thing you want to do with an orphan is to send them back. Right?
What's the return policy?
Exactly,
yeah,
right?
Okay, fair.
Now, that's not what Marilla thinks. Marilla thinks, y'all fucked up. We specifically requested to raise and adopt a boy.
So what year is this, just for context?
Early 19th century.
Okay.
Very, very early. So it's still pretty much like horse-drawn wagons. There's like buggies.
And then
whatnot.
the train is like an actual choo-choo train kind of thing?
Thomas the Tank Engine.
There
yeah.
you go. There.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's why I really like it, because I really like trains. She comes in on a train. That's why.
Right.
That was already enough for me.
Does she have like a wooden kind of brown suitcase that is like really squared and like
motherfucker?
Right? Does she have a parasol?
No, it's not like that. But she does have a brown suitcase.
Yep, there you go.
Not wood, but leather.
No wood. Sorry, yeah. There's no wood suitcase.
But you know what I mean. You're very much around there. I mean, it's not hard to describe fiction of that era, right?
Yeah.
So they bring her into the house, and Marilla, the elderly woman occupant of the Cuthbert house, is just like, fuck this. I've been slaving over this stove in the fields for so many decades of my life. I need a field hand that's a boy that's going to be able to raise and grow crops for us and actually bring them in for the long winters, because it's fucking cold in Prince Edward Island.
Okay.
So what are they going to do? Send her back. Because Matthew is very non-confrontational. He's very mild-mannered, very understanding, and he feels like, maybe it's not so much what this child can do for us. Maybe it's more what we can do for this child, because we're not just bringing in help. we're trying to adopt a child. Marilla doesn't see it. Marilla just thinks, look.
So the mother is not being very motherly.
Yeah. It's kind of weird what the relationship is because of the fact that
they're siblings.
Yeah. Again, 19th century.
Wait. So when they're siblings, it's just they're siblings. There's nothing more to that, right?
No. No. Or at least it's not explained.
Okay.
But yeah. We then move on to the part where she essentially is being brought back to the orphanage, or at least like the agent who helps to sort of distribute orphans amongst all the clients that they have there.
Sure.
And they realize they made a mistake. So they're like, okay, cool. You can bring her back. Actually, just right now, we did actually get another woman who wants to actually adopt a girl. Marilla sees her, and this is just this old, decrepit, angry woman. Goes up to Anne and says, "You look like you could do work. Look, you're going to have to earn your feed, all right? Don't expect me to cuddle you. I'm not going to give you shit unless you're going to give me shit, right? You're going to do everything I tell you, and you're not going to sleep until you're done with work and all that." And then Marilla realizes, okay, maybe I might have been a bit harsh. This woman is fucking crazy. I can't let her adopt Anne. And she steps in and says, you know what? Actually, I didn't explicitly say that I didn't want to adopt Anne. I just wanted to come in and tell you that you made a mistake.
Yo, your logistics, man. It's fucked up, bro.
Why don't, we give it a shot and see how Anne does? And Anne just brightens up. And she's ecstatic that, like, oh, you're actually not going to throw me away. You're actually going to let me stay. Wonderful. Great. Then that's the end of episode 1.
So, what is so appealing about Anne Shirley?
It's very warm. It's very it's very comfy watching this. First of all, aesthetically, it looks gorgeous. Imagine Ghibli pastel backdrops.
Right.
That's literally every single frame.
I mean, I think it's like what Love on Poppy Hill and all that stuff, and all of that kind of aesthetic, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Just in complete 2025 quality resolution
with a lot of money.
Yeah. So this looks fantastic. The story itself is really cute because Anne Shirley is she's very bubbly. She's imaginative. The first thing she does when she is at the train station, she waits for quite a while because Matthew takes a while to get there because, lo and behold, right? Travel on the road actually takes a really, really fucking long time. And she says, "Oh my God, you're here. Thank you very much for adopting me. I can't wait to get started. I was really hoping you were going to pick me up right now, but, you weren't going to pick me up. I actually saw this tree over there. And I thought, it would be really wonderful for me to sleep in this tree, just experience wilderness and whatnot. So I was going to stay over there and sleep, and then maybe you would catch me in the morning. But you're here now. I can't wait. It's so nice to meet you. My name is Anne. Anne with an E. It's A-N-E. Anne Shirley. Very nice to meet you." And then Matthew's just like,
cool. Do you have Concerta?
Okay.
Do you have Ritalin?
The buggy's at the back. Let's go to the house. And so it's just essentially just what's really heartwarming about the story is that it's essentially kind of inspired by Lucy Maud Montgomery, the writer of this book, where she kind of sees the experiences of a young girl who was also mistakenly adopted, not as a boy but as a girl, and she drew her own personal childhood experiences of growing up in Prince Edward Island. It's a very simple sort of coming of age story. It's a classic child's novel in which it was written for all ages. So it's not like only kids are going to enjoy it. It's very much like an all age kind of thing. So it's sort of seeing how this child grows up in this fictional town of Avonlea in Prince Edward Island. Her life with the Cuthberts, her life going to school, her life sort of growing up in this new town.
It just sounds as slice of life as you can get.
Yes. It's perfect. It's so good. I absolutely love it. It's obviously not called slice of life. It's more historical drama, but the slice of life elements are 100% there. I think you would like it.
Yeah.
I think you would absolutely like it.
Cool.
Because it's not problematic. It's not like there's going to be a lot of issues in terms of how the characters.
There are conflicts, but it gets resolved, right?
Yeah. But at the same time, you can also see as well, right? When Anne is faced with potentially being disowned again, She then goes into her weird, depressive, but imaginative states, like
Sound of Music kind of thing.
where it's just like, well, look, we're sorry for how you feel. You're sorry. You're not the one that's orphaned. Parents died from typhoid fever.
So she talks back.
Yeah, and where it's like, because she doesn't stay quiet.
Right.
She's very much like what's on her mind. She speaks it
like
immediately.
Heart on the sleeve, like loud
no
and proud.
bullshit whatsoever.
All right.
Cannot tell a lie. Cannot keep a secret. Cannot keep to herself. Whatever she has on her chest, she lets it out. And I think that that's actually a really good thing, especially with a kid's story, a children's story. You don't want this child to essentially just kind of fester emotions in her side of her and grow even more depressive. She lets it out while still being depressed, while still feeling like she's been let down, she's been led astray, and feeling like this is it, right? Like,
so it's very grounded in reality.
oh yeah, there's nothing fantastical about it.
Right.
Yeah, it's very much I suppose like a real depiction, simply because this was based on the real childhood experiences of Montgomery.
Right.
So I'd say full recommend. Absolutely love it. Canadians out there, definitely watch it. It's really cute. So yeah, I not much else to say.
The next show that we're going to talk about is called Witch Watch, which is based on the ongoing manga series of the same name by Kenta Shinohara, who did the story and the art, published on Jump Plus Manga Plus, produced by Bibury Animation Studios. Has a raw score of 6.99, rank 9263, but popularity 991.
Real good.
So Witch Watch is kind of a manga that is on the Shonen Jump lineup that I don't really like, to be fair.
Did you watch it?
What, the anime?
Yeah,
I did. The manga, I read like 11 chapters, and I wasn't very, very impressed. So when this show came around, I was not really jonesing to watch it.
I'll tell you why I watched it.
And then I watched it.
The reason why I watched it was because my dumbass thought it was Witch Hat Atelier.
Oh, really?
So when I watched the first 5 minutes, like, I don't remember a boy being in this first 5-minute sequence. Wait, why is there a witch school? I don't remember. Oh, I'm not watching the right thing. Oh, I guess I'm gonna watch it then. I guess I'm here. I'm already 5 minutes in. I got another 20 to go. And I watch it. It's like, this is actually pretty good.
I actually think it's really good. I don't know why. I do know why, which is the production, the voice, the aesthetics of it. The comedic bits hit for me.
Yep. So just a quick synopsis. Nico Wakatsuki, young girl who goes off to her witch training school for 6 years and is coming back to town. During this time, there is a young boy who grows up to be a big-ass bro named Morihito Boy Otogi. We'll call him Morihito from now. What's so special about him? Oh, he's a young boy who also happens to be an ogre. But, on the outside, he's perfectly human. But he's got superhuman strength, because he's an ogre. And Nico, before she leaves, makes a promise to come back and watch over him. And as part of her witch school, she needs to essentially pick a familiar. Now, with familiars, it could be some sort of ethereal beast. It could be an animal. It could be some sort of weird make-believe creature. But unlike the other witches, she decides, you know what? I actually am going to pick a guy I like. I'm going to pick Morihito. He's going to be my familiar.
Because it just so happens that the family of ogres have a pact with this family of witches that, the bloodlines, they have been together. They have history for a long, long time. And so now's the time for them to get together.
Right. And so conveniently, the ogre dad, right, Morihito's father, is on a business trip. Nico's mom needs to stay back in the Holy Land of the Witches. So put them two together. Put them under the same roof. What could possibly happen?
A lot. And I have to admit, I have to admit, when I like something and when I don't like something, I really thought the manga was mid. I really like the anime.
So what was different about the manga versus the anime? Did you feel it was just it didn't show like the character dynamics and relationships very well? Was the pacing? Was the line delivery? Was it just the overall vibe?
Because the first episode is pretty much
chapter,
very faithful.
Episode? Oh, so it's actually like adapted like
pretty much panel by panel almost.
Yeah.
But I think what gives it is the voice acting,
yeah,
the audio aspect.
I think that definitely, because especially like when you have like Nico, the girl, like absolutely just crushing on Morihito, like really like, I love him so much. I can't wait to be him. I can't wait to be his savior. I can't wait for him to be my familiar. Oh, here, let me show you all the magic tricks I learned. The magic I learned. Oh, I can turn this this vase into this. Oh, I'm gonna make this completely shatter this window. Why the fuck do you do that? Oh, don't worry, I can fix it. Give me something that really means a lot to you. There's this cup I've had ever since I was a child. Okay, I'm gonna fix it by using this. Boom. Great. Windows fixed. What the fuck happened to my cup? Oh,
I transfer the broken power to the cup because that's how it works. That's the conduit. That's the price you need to pay to fix the window.
That's the equivalent exchange.
Yes, exactly. And it's just really, really a fun show.
It's comedic. It's romantic. It's cute. It's funny. I think that if it's I mean, I think there are other romance shows that are going on this season, but this is the main one that I watched. I'd pick this as my romance pick. Rom-com.
Yeah, I definitely think it's the rom-com of the season, guaranteed. If you don't like the manga or you think the manga is mid, I would say 100% give this anime a chance because I am convinced that it is a really good show. And it just demonstrates how much the animation and the anime adaptation process can really dramatically change a show.
Just to give reference, I know it's only like 1 or 2 episodes in. I believe the second episode drops on the 13th, so it should be out by the time you listen to this episode. 6.99 for the raw score for the manga source. The anime is currently sitting at a 7.51.
Oh, okay.
Drastically higher than the manga. So a very good score.
Yeah.
Absolutely no hesitation in recommending it. Now, next series we'll be talking about is Yaiba, Samurai Legends, based on the completed manga series of the same name by Gosho Aoyama, with both story and art. Now, it's relatively unknown in the West simply because for the longest time, it was never translated.
Right.
In fact, the translation only started this year. They're not expecting to release the first volume in English by Viz Media until July 2025.
It's ancient.
That's why nobody has heard anything about it. Like if you look at like the statistics for the manga source, there's barely anything. Like 7.5. Yeah, that should not say mouse score anime. It should say mouse score source. I believe source. Yes, because the manga only has. Oh, actually no. I'll fix that anyways. There's only 3,000 or so members on the manga entry. Barely anything. It does have a 7.545 score though, so it's got a bit of a cult following in like the West, but in Japan, insanely popular. In fact, like even like worldwide, 17 million copies in circulation. Winner of the 38th Shogakukan Manga Award in 1993. This is a bestseller. So all of a sudden, with studios like, you know what? Let's pick this up. Because they did that with Ranking of Kings.
Right.
Nobody knows about it in the West. It's super popular in Japan. Let's try and make it actually a more global powerhouse. And holy fuck, it's good. It's pretty good. In the sense that, like, if you set your mind back to, like, the early 90s, that's what it's like. Where, you know, like
Rama Half.
Not Rama Half, like Dragon Ball.
Oh.
In the sense that it has the hair, because you know when the people were doing animations, like people didn't really want to spend too much time drawing intricate hair, so their hair is literally just spikes.
Yeah, they do the Sonic hair.
Yeah. It's that, right? The facial expressions very much set in the 90s,
so very bombastic, cartoon-esque.
Yes.
Looney Tunes-esque. Yeah.
It gives you vibes of like Hunter x Hunter in the sense that like, you know, it's this kid named Yaiba who is growing up and being trained in the jungle by his father. So it's Kurogane Yaiba, the son, and the main protagonist, and Kenjuro Yaiba, who is the father of this young little samurai. So what is the whole plot of this? Well, little young Yaiba is going to become a even better samurai. He's outgrown the jungle. He can no longer train any further because he's beaten every single beast there is there.
It's a low-level power zone for me now.
Yeah, he's out of the tutorial section now.
Right.
And he now then has to, really fight where the true monsters live.
The baddies.
Tokyo.
Okay. Great.
Because that's where all the main samurai and kendo schools are.
Okay.
So Kenshiro, the father, brings his son and into Japan and encounters an old rival of his, Onimaru Takeshi. Oni is already
demon.
Yeah,
right.
But he's not a bad person.
Yet.
Yeah, well, yeah. Again, only one episode. I'm not going to read the manga.
Sure,
it's not out in English yet, right? So Yaiba, I'm just going to say Yaiba for the son, just because it's easier to say. I'm not going to go through kuragane. Too many syllables. Essentially gets enlisted into the tutelage of Onimaru Takeshi's kendo school. Well, supposedly. The father just kind of dumps him there and says, okay, go and train. Even though there was no discussion, it was it's kind of like, in Chinese, it's tai chang.
Right.
Right? In English, he's going over and taking over someone's dojo.
Right.
Right? Goes in there, Yaiba destroys the top kendo martial artist there.
Oh, so embarrassed.
Now, Onimaru has a young daughter. I don't remember her name. It's not important for the story because then she has to go to school. But Yaiba isn't going to train the whole time. He decides, I'm going to go to school with you. And he gets into... It turns out that because she is the daughter of a kendo master, she also is part of the kendo club at her school. And Yaiba goes in and says, I'm going to challenge the number one guy here. And that's when he meets his first challenge, where all the tricks and all the moves that he does not work on him. In fact, he has now said, this is where my real journey begins. And it ends with him saying, this is the beginning of my lifelong rivalry with this other character.
So it kind of just sounds like a 1990s, as you said, kind of series.
Yep.
It's so. Where is the? I'm not trying to insult Yaiba Samurai Legend, but where is the hook? Where is the pitch where it really elevates it from, a manga that is tens of years old, but now all of a sudden coming in at 2025 and it is doing very well.
I think that's what it is. It's a very of the ilk of the early 90s and late 80s. It's a very simple shonen.
Very generic in a good way, though, right?
Again, I would remove the generic from it just because of the fact that that's just what stuff was like back then.
True.
Just a kid who wants to be the best samurai there is. And, is...
Hero's journey.
Yeah. I think it's plain, simple fun. There's no bullshit. No real sort of power scaling yet. Again, only one episode out as of now. The next episode will be dropping tonight. Line delivery is good. I think the thing that might hold people back maybe is the aesthetic. Because it's very much grounded in 90s style.
Right.
And I know a lot of people, I know you particularly as well, you're not necessarily the biggest fan of the old style that's being replicated now.
Well, I like Rama half a lot.
Yeah, that's one example, right?
Yeah,
but
that is.
But there are instances where you're it doesn't look as clean, or maybe it doesn't look as
I have that
modern.
I have that tendency for
right?
sure. It just bothers the heck out of
that
me.
might actually bother you. That might bother a lot of other people too. But honestly, that's kind of be expected when you're watching a show that debuted its manga series in the 90s. So I thoroughly liked it just because it wasn't so much a nostalgia thing, though weirdly it kind of is. Because one, I never grew up with Yaiba. I never even heard of Yaiba.
Me too.
But watching, I was like, yeah, this is what it was like waking up at
Saturday,
7,
yeah.
8 in the morning, watching like my anime and all that. This is what it was like.
So if I were to say, oh, after Dragon Ball is Yaiba Samurai Legend, you'll be like, oh yeah, that checks out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to put it on the same level in terms of like the fandom and whatnot, but to be fair, 17 million copies of manga in circulation.
But it's like that vibe. It is that kind of stroke, right?
I mean, you were not wrong in saying Rama half either. It's like Rama half meet Rurouni Kenshin meet Dragon Ball. Like I don't want to like amalgamate too many of like 90s series, but like it's. I mean, there's really no way else to explain it to someone who's never heard of Yaiba,
which is
right?
I think a lot of people.
Right. This is like a virtual unknown in the West, and so like to drop this and have its score being at a 7.69 right now, I'm happy to recommend Yaiba Samurai Legends to anybody who wants to check out a simple shonen.
All right.
Like, you're not too far off by saying like I guess like quote unquote generic in the sense that like it does kind of follow a similar formula of how those things
but if
go.
it's executed well, which sounds like it is, then and to me it doesn't matter because everything to a certain point when you distill it and reduce it and be reductive about it, it's all about execution.
I like it.
Great.
Now, Apocalypse Hotel.
So, anime original, produced by Cygames Pictures, has a mouse score of 7.27. I watched the first episode. Will, have you played Fallout, Outer Wilds, that kind of post-apocalyptic kind of setting?
Which Fallout? New Vegas.
New Vegas.
I haven't, but it was on discount on Steam, and I bought it.
Okay. But you're aware of the post-apocalyptic landscape.
It's kind of disputed whether like Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas was the best Fallout.
I like 3 better than New Vegas, but New Vegas is kind of like its own thing in a weird way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I bought 3. I have because they have a package for all the Fallout series, which was like almost like $1,500, but it's all the Fallout games and all the other stuff, right?
Right.
So I got Fallout New Vegas. I got Fallout 4. Now I'm kind of not sure if I'm regretting not picking up Fallout 3 because I did play it when I was younger, back when I was in college. But that's but okay.
Right.
I get it. Future dystopia, a post-apocalyptic world.
Like humans.
I mean, it's in the name, Apocalypse Hotel, right?
Human has been wiped out, and it now looks like The Last of Us, where the trees and the vegetation has grown through the buildings, and it just looks very quiet and serene.
From my understanding, Apocalypse Hotel is about like hotel staff who are all robots, and they're kind of just operating like nothing's really changed because they're robots, and then they're just waiting for like their first guest or their first human to show up.
And something happens at the end of episode 1. But what is really appealing, I think, about the first episode is it's a very cute show and also has tinge of sadness because the main female...
all life is dead, right?
Right.
Supposedly.
The main female character is essentially the manager robot. She's a humanoid, and the other robots are kind of very weird, different sizes. And essentially, it is her... You just see her day. And it's really weird because when she does, they show the exact same thing with multiple days. Like, go into this room, the exact same room, clean the bed sheets, then go put it in the washing machine. The cooks cook the same exact food.
So do the robots then, like, are they just, like, programmed to just do their job, or do they have, like, some semblance of sentience?
There's, like, 2 that have sentient. The ones that look like, the spider robots in Ghost in the Shell do not have like communication capabilities, but they understand language.
I feel it's like a disservice to call it the spider robot because they have a name, but I keep forgetting the name. Anyways, move on.
Yeah, I forgot. You can check for me. The thing that I would say
because they were cute as fuck.
Yeah, but they in Ghost in the Shell though they talk and they have very expressive kind of audio and voice. They don't have that here, but. What is
Tachikoma?
Tachikoma,
yeah.
Right. What is really interesting is that you see the day, and it just looks kind of odd because they go, look, check-in, 0 guests. The amount of incidences, 0 guests. And then they go through, has there been any lost property? No. This is log day 3,982. Nothing has happened. We are still waiting for humans to come back. We're waiting. We're preparing everything. And then it goes to day 2, and it's exactly the same thing.
So this is where it's like the depressiveness, where it's like it's Groundhog Day, but it's also monotonous. It's hopeless. It's mundane.
But it's played in a way that it's very cute, like very charming. And then you start to have these questions and these kinds of conversations, such as the doorman is a robot that is like, like a big hulking robot. And he doesn't have a cooling system because it's been like
There's no repairman in this world.
Right. There is a repair robot, but they don't have the part. So every time he opens the door, he overheats and he shuts down. And the main female character, Yachio, has to pour water on him to cool him down so that he can then turn back on and then essentially guard the door and open the door.
The door robot is literally called Doorman Robot.
Yep. So you would go, okay, he's just a robot that does this one thing. And then towards the end of the first episode, Yachiro basically goes, wait, why do you do this? Because, you don't need to do this. Because, look, we have people that can help you open the door. You don't have to be that person. You can do other things. And he goes, why? This is my job. And this is the thing that I am good at. This is the thing that I am made for. And if I don't have it, even though doing that action that is meant to be my thing, and I break down, what do I have left? And then it starts getting very philosophical. And then an incident occurs that turns out to not be an issue at all, then causes a lot of people to go crazy because the monotonous cycle of things, all of a sudden, there's a hiccup that shouldn't happen, but all of a sudden does. And then it turns out that, it's not that big of a deal. Then at the end of the first episode, let's just say hotel's got to get customers, right? And that customer, though, is not who you think it is. And then that's where it ends. So it really has a very interesting 20 minutes that I don't know would keep the same atmosphere, because it's like they also show like the robot graveyard, because there used to be like 40 robots, but now there's only like 12. So then they talk about how like, this drilling robot is dysfunctional now and gotta put it down just to let everyone know. All right, guys, back to work. Okay, and then everyone just starts cooking, and then everyone just starts cleaning the bed sheets. Everyone just starts cleaning all the bathrooms. And it's just this really weird kind of situation.
That kind of gives me vibes of Tasakara Hotel from the previous season.
When you mentioned it.
Maybe not so much, not too deep into the mystery, but there's definitely like some unsolved like questions, right?
Yeah. And it's just this kind of sadness of robots waiting. You're waiting for the return. It's like you're a little kid and you're waiting for your dad or your mom to come home from work, so then you can just see them, and then that elation. You're waiting for that moment. You're waiting for the beat to drop, and it never shows until all of a sudden it does. Then what do you do? And then that's where the first episode ends. As an anime original, you don't know where it goes.
Yeah, you never do.
But I would say there's enough questions and enough charm for me to see where it goes.
Like it's vibing towards like a more positive direction than negative.
Yeah, I think a 7.27 is understandable in the sense that because you don't know what's going on,
and only one episode out.
Yeah, but I would say that just off of the first episode alone, I think that score is low, and I think it's worth checking out for sure.
Right. So don't be like don't be confused with why it's such a low score. Really should give it a chance.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the next two I kind of want to just brush over because there really isn't a whole lot to say. Not to mention that we are getting close to the 2-hour mark. So, My Hero Academia Vigilantes, you know what's up. If you like My Hero Academia, you'll like Vigilantes.
What is it about, though?
It's just basically it's kind
of
it
Kick-Ass?
It's a spin-off of the main series, and it's set before the current timeline of My Hero Academia, where everybody has quirks, but it hasn't been sort of instilled as like a sort of a normative thing.
Oh, it's not been institutionalized. There's not been a hierarchy at school.
And they're getting towards getting licensed, but of course, not everybody is fully on board. So the ones who don't end up becoming professional heroes, well, whether or not you are a villain, whether or not you're committing crimes, any use of these quirks is against the law. You need to be legally authorized to be able to use these powers.
Right.
And so that's why it's called Vigilantes. There are people who don't have their hero license, but still go around and solve crimes.
Save the day.
Exactly.
Your neighborhood superhero.
Yeah. It's good. I like it in the sense that, like, I like My Hero Academia. I like this. You should too. Moving forward, Summer Pockets, visual novel adaptation of the same name by Visual Arts /Key. I'll just keep it simple. If you liked Clanad, Air, Canon, you'll like Summer Pockets. If you don't, you probably won't enjoy this.
Which is my opinion. I have no idea what's going on, and I watched the first episode. But okay, let's see where it goes.
How do you feel about a ninja and an assassin under one roof?
So, it is based on the manga series of the same name by 100 Burger and produced by Shaft. Has a MAL score of 7.33. And the premise is very simple. There's an assassin who is really good at her job, except she's really bad at disposing bodies. So her assassin rank hierarchy, she's very low, even though her ability is really good. Then you get a runaway ninja, because if you're a ninja that runs away from your home, you need to be killed and assassinated. But she has an ability to turn objects into leaves.
Okay.
And the assassin is like, yo, why don't you be my roommate? And I'll protect you from all of the ninjas and all of the dangers, because I'm really good at killing and you're really good at disposing bodies. Let's link up. And then you mix in Shaft, their weird monogatari, weird like aesthetics, weird like slow motions, comedy, a lot of blood randomly out of nowhere. It is probably what a slapstick comedy should be. It reminds me a lot of like Nichijou, the action scenes?
Yeah.
Imagine that.
But as an episode?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
It's really good. I really like it. And it's funny. I chuckled quite a few times, and it just hits really well.
Is it criminally underrated with a 7.33? Or do you feel that's
It's
about
fine.
right?
It's fine.
Because I feel, we've talked about this in our comedy episode, right? It's very much subjective, whether or not you vibe with the comedic stylings of the series.
But it's very energetic. So it kind of just gives you this little pep, and it just is a very, very funny show. It's rare.
Okay. I'm going to flip the script a little bit because I'm going to talk about Rock is a Lady's Modesty. So it's based on the ongoing manga series of the same name by Hiroshi Fukuda, who did both the story and the art. And I'm not talking about the anime adaptation, but I'm talking about the manga, because the manga itself was recommended by the author of Bocchi the Rock, Aki Hamachi. So that should give it some standing. Now, back onto the anime. It's produced by Bandai Namco Pictures. The original source was not very highly rated, 7.17, which is still good, but in comparison to how it's perceived right now, where it's a 7.59 for the anime adaptation, miles ahead. And again, it's mostly because when you do something that's a bit more like music-based, it is going to be a lot harder to sort of showcase that when you don't have sound or motion.
Yeah.
So, what is the whole story about? It's focused on a elite all-girls academy where refined young ladies gather and learn and be more ladylike. So Lilisa Suzunomiya, mouthful, she was not adopted. Her mother remarried a real estate tycoon, very, very like high prestige, and so now she has to act all ladylike. She needs to be elegant. She
all
needs to be
posh.
classical. Yes. But then that also means she needs to abandon a lot of the things that she did when she wasn't in this family, which includes her love for rock music and playing the guitar. So whenever she goes into classes, whenever she's having lunches and whatnot, her classmates, because she's very elegant and very beautiful and whatnot. But it's also like it's very clear that she's the main character because all the girls have like neat, straight, pink, black, brown hair. She has like neon yellow hair that is like overlord like horns with like senku green tips at the end. So very clearly she's the fucking main character.
Right.
So she has to just do whatever she can to keep up the facade that she is really this elegant lady, by remembering like, what classical music do you like listening to? Oh, I've recently been playing a lot of Ravel and Rachmaninoff and all that.
Did you hear about the new tea leaves that are just imported the other week?
I'm getting tired of Earl Grey. Why don't we switch to a new tea? Why don't we do hibiscus? Oh, hibiscus, that sounds exotic. Is a lady able to drink this? Oh, we will never know. Maybe the school will bring it in. I'll have Papa import a shipment of hibiscus tea. That kind of vibe, right?
Yeah.
And so she is like, I fucking hate this. I want to go back to playing my guitar. I don't want to talk about fucking piano. I want to play the fucking guitar. I want to rock out. And she's walking through the hallway, and one day she looks on the ground and sees something on the ground. She picks it up. It's a guitar pick. Now, why would there be a guitar pick? Nobody plays the guitar here. No one's allowed to play the guitar here because it's not very ladylike. And then turns around another very, very much like highly rated student of the school. I forgot her name, but again, it's is it important? It actually is important because she's also a main character in this. Kurogane Otoha. Oh, let's just call her Otoha. She is looking on the ground. Sorry, have you seen something on the ground?
Yeah.
No. I didn't see anything on the ground. Oh, it's a shame. Well, I'll be on my way then. Ta-da. Walks off, and she's like, I should follow her. And as she follows her, they go through a forest, and she's like, why the fuck am I walking through
so
here?
secluded?
Then she comes across an abandoned, well, basically an old like clubhouse.
Right.
And she starts hearing drums. She opens the door, and she sees Otoha just crushing on the drums, double pedals and all that. Like she's fucking beasting it. She's like,
this is where I belong.
Excuse me, I believe you dropped this guitar pick. Oh, thank you very much. Oh, I'm so thankful. Would you like to play with me? Sorry, I don't play guitar. It's not very ladylike. Oh, it's just that nobody here would know this is a guitar pick, so how do you know it's a guitar pick?
Shit.
And she's like, it's okay, don't worry about it.
I saw it in a catalog.
Yeah. It's like, oh, okay, well, I'm sorry I asked you to rock out and jam out with me. Maybe you just suck at the guitar.
Did she actually? Oh, calls her out straight up.
Immediately turns around, grabs a guitar, trucks it into the amp, and starts shredding. Fucking jamming out with this girl. And they're going back and forth. She's hitting like a nice little guitar lick and playing a solo. She's crushing it with the double pedals and going like, full out and all that. And they just rock out for straight 2 minutes. And she's just like, I can't believe I'm fucking doing this. This is great. And then she ends. And then the girl on the drums, Otoa, just starts slamming again. Rounds off the whole jam session with another drum solo. Boom. And she's just like, the fuck is wrong with this girl? She's fucking crazy. Oh, you want to challenge me? Okay, we can challenge any day, but let's just leave it at that. Thank you very much for jamming out with me. This is all inner monologue, by the way. And she extends a hand to offer, handshake. She's like, thank you very much for jamming out with me. Otoha then looks up and just screams at the top of her lungs, oh my god, you're so fucking bad! How the fuck did you even learn how to play the guitar? I wasted 5 fucking minutes for you to laze around on those fucking strings whilst I'm kicking ass on these drums. By the way, fucking if you ever played drums and to just consistently double pedal all the way through, she's thin she's thin as a stick, but she's managing to crush on this drum set. She's like, you should fucking give up guitar. Whoever taught you how to play the guitar, I hope they're dead, because they should never pass down this knowledge to anybody else. The fact that you learn how to play guitar is a fucking insult to the instrument itself. And with that, I take my leave. Ta-da! And walks out. And then fucking Suzunomiya is just like,
My whole life is a lie.
yo, fuck this bitch.
Oh, yo, okay.
Is she gonna come at me like that? Oh, I'm gonna get her. I'm gonna fucking get her. And that's how they start off their journey to creating a band.
Right.
At least that's what it's alluded to.
Right.
So, first off, it's fucking funny as shit. It's great. I love the fact that, first of all, because I've played guitar and I've also played drums, so I know how hard it is to play both of them, because I'm not very good at either of them. I've only done single pedals with the bass drum, so to do double pedals, fucking insane. I am very interested to see how this band forms. It's just fun to see this real intense rivalry between two girls who, on the surface, are very, very much like the poster child of how an elegant lady should be in this all-girls academy. But on the inside, they're like outfits. They're outsiders. They're misfits. Sorry, where they just want to just let out all their angst and energy into this non-elegant, this completely bombastic genre of music.
And loud.
Yes. Not elegant and ladylike at all.
So the juxtaposition, the typical dichotomy kind of theme, but played out in such a way that it is just crazy good.
Yep.
Nice.
If you like, Jellyfish from the previous seasons, if you like
Girl Band Cry,
if you like Butchie the Rock, yo, Rock is a Lady's Modesty.
yeah.
Fucking great. You should, Jason, should absolutely watch it. I know you decided not to watch it because you wanted to watch other stuff.
Yeah.
Now you can forget about all the,
The stuff that I won't watch, yeah.
and watch this.
Sure.
And thus we then end with Sword of the Demon Hunter, based on the ongoing novel series of the same name by Motu Nakanishi, who did the story. It was originally a web novel on the Shosetsuka ni Naru platform from 2015 December, and in 2022, it was then published in English by Seven Seas Entertainment under the Airship imprint. The anime adaptation is done by Yokohama Animation Laboratory, and there's not much in terms of like a score because it's, again, very unknown. The manga does have a score, but I'm not going to use that as reference because I want to be more focusing on like the juxtaposition between the novel and the manga and the anime. So, set in the Edo period, so about 100 to 200 years ago, focusing on the small little mountain village of Kadono. Right, there is a young boy named Jinta who acts as a guardian for the shrine maiden called the Itsukihime. There are weird demons that lurk amongst the land.
So it's a little bit fantastical and spiritual.
So I like that you say that, because without even describing what the story is, imagine Demon Slayer meets Mushishi.
What?
It is exactly that.
So trading sword blows while philosophical discussions
understanding where the demons come from, where the pain that creates these demons, whether they are ethereal, whether they are actually manifested through like the impregnation of like a demon baby, either within another demon or in real fucked up cases in a human.
Right.
Right? Because demon-human relationships do not exist, so therefore, how does a demon impregnate a human? It's the R word.
Right.
Yeah. So there's definitely a lot of really fucked up things in this.
And is it very brutal in that sense?
Oh my god, it is insanely horrifying in terms of like the level of violence there is in this.
Like what level? If you were to kind of give, is it like Tokyo Ghoul Attack on Titan level?
Elfen Lied.
Oh God, Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe not as hardcore as Elfen Lied, but it's definitely on the edge of Elfen Lied level violence.
Like you would say it's more Elfen Lied than AOT.
Now, it is an hour-long premiere.
Yep,
so
double.
it's a double episode premiere. So around, I think it was roughly like 58 minutes, if I remember. So follows mainly. It mainly follows 3 characters. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much it should spoil actually, because I really feel people should watch it. Anyways,
Okay.
I'll spoil the first 5 minutes of it.
Sure.
Because that would really set the tone. So Jinta, because it starts off at the beginning of the story where Jinta's a young boy, and he's like sort of like he hasn't started on his journey to becoming a swordsmith, like a swordmaster yet. So he grows up with his sister Suzune. Now Suzune is cursed
Oh shit.
because she gets completely like
Obliterated.
abused and beat up by her own father
Ah, it's fucked up.
because she's not human.
Oh.
Thus, where like I'm making the parallels between Demon Slayer and sort of the Demon Hunter, because she has a bandaged eye, but when her right eye is revealed, it's glowing red, a demon eye.
Okay.
Right? So, how this child came to be, who knows? But there ain't gonna be no demon in my family. Throws this kid out, and Jinta's like,
Yeah, but that's my
"To my sister,
yeah.
So-
what the fuck you doing?
let's leave." So, in the midst of this heavy rain, they run off, and
That sounds so dramatic.
Jinta just passes out because he's been carrying Suzune this whole time, but he's just like he's still a child. He's like
Like
9 or 10 years old.
piggybacking, and then oh damn.
Then, like along the way, a sentinel. So not a samurai, but a sentinel, basically a guardian
A guard,
of the village,
okay,
right?
yeah.
Finds them. His name is Motoharu, and
Okay.
essentially brings him into his family and introduces them to his daughter, Shirayuki,
Okay.
young girl of this village of Karano.
Is she hot?
Well, I mean, they're 9.
Does Jinta think she's hot? I did not know she was 9. I completely did not know she was 9. Jesus Christ. God damn it. I'm so fucked this episode.
No, but because when they grow up, she is hot. Okay.
No, but like,
No.
thanks for giving me a bone, but like, bro, fuck that shit. Oh, god damn it.
No, but you know where this is going, right? Where they basically
The love interest.
Yes, exactly. So they grow up, and it's revealed that Shirayuki is actually the daughter of the maiden of this village, the
Oh.
Itsukihime, and therefore she's in line to becoming the next
Shrine Maiden, right? Yeah.
Yes. And then I'm gonna stop there.
Okay,
in terms
okay.
of the plot,
All right.
because let's just say shit goes horribly wrong.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, when you say elfin lead, shit is going to go horribly wrong.
Yeah, that's as far as I'm going to say, because I feel like anybody who wants to check this out should not be spoiled by whatever I have to say. Especially whenever you have like an hour-long premiere, much in the same way where like Oshinoko did their hour-long premiere, much in the same
90.
way. Okay, hour and a half actually. How long was Vigilantes?
4 episodes worth, 120.
2 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you don't want to spoil, because like they're going to lore bomb you. They're going to give you the juice. They're going to let you know what the fuck this whole thing is all about, and you better watch it and not be told what it is. And that's what I feel like, trying to explain what sort of the Demon Hunter is. It is. It's gritty. It's dark. It's horrifying. There are moments where it's like it's not nearly as good as like the typical kind of historical dark fantasies.
Right.
Mostly because
Is it like Dororo in the sense, like where
that's actually a good one. That's
where
actually
people
a good
are just like, you just see the banes and horror of humanity and demons, and just
Well, not so much that, but more in the sense it's the strife and struggle of the main character in terms of their journey to becoming the Demon Hunter.
like shit ain't easy.
Yes.
Like Fire Punch.
Because what he needs to do is, and this is him in his grown-up life, where he not only is a demon hunter, but he needs to understand like why it is that he carries the sword that he has. Why is it that he needs to go and kill these demons? Where did these demons come from? And he learns about how these monsters are manifested. Like he's explained where like, yes, demons can be created through demon reproduction,
right?
Where demons make babies with demons. Demons make babies with
humans,
which is extremely fucked up. Or the third one, which is demons are manifested from the emotions and the thoughts of the humans, which is where like this is where the fucked up things come from. Because
Right.
sometimes it's not so much the monsters themselves are horrifying. It's what created them in the first place,
Right.
which is the real true
The dark
evil,
places, right? Yeah.
right? I feel like the score it has right now, whilst completely like apt, 7.68, I feel that if it progresses in the way I hope it progresses,
Mm-hmm.
it will be an 8 by the end of the season.
Right.
I have a strong feeling it will be an 8. But that all depends on whether they're able to keep stringing along this story of this demon hunter who's philosophical as fuck and wants to understand the true existence of these demons and what it is for him to be a samurai, to be a guardian of this, of wherever he goes. So he goes from town to town.
Hence the Mushishi.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he's like, he gets enlisted by maybe the daughter of an earl or the daughter of like the king of this town, or
you have to be a bodyguard,
or yeah, maybe a merchant that comes along, right?
Sure.
Who knows, right? And it's him going through his life as a demon hunter, because the way the story progresses, I think it starts off in like 1830, then it progresses to 1831, 32, time skip, kind of. That's the general vibe I'm getting from this. It is. It was a fucking good anime. I would go so far as to say that this was my favorite one to watch this season. Shortly below it would be, I'd say Rocket's Lady's Modesty, just because it was just a fun.
Right.
The line delivery in that seasonal was good. But if there was a seasonal that anybody should watch that isn't a sequel, Sword of the Demon Hunter is absolutely the one to watch.
All right. That's a heavy, great endorsement of the anime. And that really wraps up pretty much all of our thoughts on the spring seasonal lineup. I have to say, I am very, very pleasantly surprised by the amount of variety and the, in my opinion, I just feel like on the surface it didn't seem like a very strong season.
It's the amount of sleepers that we have.
Yeah, I think and there's so many originals. There's like 4 that we talked about.
Yep.
And like 2-3 of them are really good.
I don't think, like, of the ones that we like legitimately wanted to watch and analyze, none of them were bad.
Yeah.
Despite some of them having low scores, like for example, the Apocalypse Hotel being 7.21.
I was ready to hate on Witch Watch. I guarantee you. I was so ready to go on like a 5-minute rant.
You tend to do that, where it's like whenever you watch it, you give it like the lowest expectations and you let it sort of simmer and surprise you, as opposed to me, where like I go into something being a bit more. Well, there's 2 ways about it.
Right.
One, which is like if I know something, I try and expect to be entertained,
and
then like slowly and surely, whether the cracks start showing or whether or not I actually exceed the level of excitement, or I just like black out. Just don't watch anything about it, don't learn anything about it, and just go in blind.
It's just interesting because obviously, as with any anime season, the sequels are always the highest ranked ones, usually, if not always.
The fact that the top 2 right now, okay, out of the top 5, 3 of them are sequels.
Yeah.
Right?
Which
and
is
Uma
Butler.
Musume is a spin-off of Pretty Derby, so we'll include it in that list. The only
Right.
one that's not is Kowloon Generic Romance. And then shortly after that is Lazarus, anime original, and Shirley, adapted from a child's novel from 1908. Yaiba, a long-lasting, very widely popular in the East, but not so much in the West, manga series. And then you have Sword of the Demon Hunter, you have MSG GQuuuuuX, right?
Yeah. And then out of nowhere, outside of the fucking peripheral, you get To Be Hero X. That is just like, yo, top 140, I'm here. And I'm just like, yeah, okay, sure. It is just a very surprising amount of mixture of stuff that I would say in general, don't talk about the sequels this season. It's not about the sequels anymore.
No.
The sequels are good. I like Windbreaker season 2.
But
I like all the season 2.
Is there any value in sort of talking about it where, like, like if you've already watched season 1, you're gonna watch season 2. If you liked Fire Force, you're gonna watch season 3. And if you loved all of Black Butler, what's stopping you from watching this current season?
For me, actually, I might say, like, hey, the sequels are gonna be good. But if you have limited time, don't worry about the sequels right now.
They'll be here to stay.
In fact, I would say, if anything, focus on some of the shows that really is just eye-popping, eye-catching, that is just out of nowhere, left field, but are like the best shows ever. So you would say, if we had to condense it to like a couple of shows that you would recommend.
The 3 I would easily recommend would be Rock is the Lady's Modesty, Sword of the Demon Hunter, and it's a flip between Lazarus and
Kowloon.
Oh yeah. Oh, I forgot. Okay, if it's top 5, then it'll be Lazarus and Shirley, Sword of the Demon Hunter, Kowloon Generic Romance, and Rock is the Lady's Modesty, with Witch Watch being a outsider 6th.
For me, funny enough, the three that I would pick is a ninja and an assassin, Witch Watch, which are basically the 2 comedies.
Apocalypse Hotel.
I would say Kowloon Generic Romance.
So Hotel would be like an outsider, but like
yeah,
definitely worth considering.
It's definitely worth considering, but it could also fall flat because it's an anime original. You never know.
You never know.
But there it goes.
And that's not to say the other things we didn't have on the list are not worth watching. Look, like Vigilantes, give it a chance if you like are starting to fall off the rocker with My Hero Academia. Summer Pockets, again, we've already said, you got to be a big fan of the visual novels that come up from Visual Arts,
like the Clanad and all that stuff.
But it could still be a good watch. Like I never played Clanad, but I fucking love Clanad and After Story.
Yeah. I would say if I watched Rock is a Lady's Modesty, that probably would have been my 3rd. So it would have been 3.
You would absolutely shill for Rock is a Lady's Modesty.
So get ready for the season finale, podcast season finale, when I shill this anime to no end, I guess.
Yeah.
But what I am also going to shill is our housekeeping script. So we would like to thank you guys for listening to this Good Anime Palette podcast. We really went through the gauntlet in terms of going through all of these shows.
In depth as well.
Yeah, and we greatly appreciate you leaving a ratings or review on your podcast listening platform of choice. If you want to contact us, you can reach us through our email, gapalette@gmail.com, GAPALETTE, all lowercase, all one word. We also have the handle @PaletteGood, capital P and capital G, all one word. And we also have a website, www.goodanimepalette.com, all lowercase, all one word. Music credits for this episode. Our intro music is Life is a Party by John Runefelt. Our break music, which we will highlight and will use at some point, is Chemistry Love by Swift7, and our outro music is Voyage by Pow. You can support the music artists that we feature by listening to them on Spotify, Apple Music, or your music listening platform of choice. And Epidemic Sound provides all of our royalty-free music. If you're interested, you can sign up using the referral link in our show description. Terms and conditions apply. I think it's a really healthy season in general.
There's other stuff that we haven't even discussed. Like, for example, can a boy-girl friendship survive? The JC,
JC Staff one.
rom-com. That one, I mean, JC Staff, if anything, doing rom-coms is like safe for them.
I just can't believe that after we started talking about how the comedy genre is in its current state, that my top 3 shows are all comedic based.
You see. Maybe it's not all doom and gloom for comedy.
Maybe it isn't. Maybe I'll have to eat my words at some point.
I mean, Rock is the Lady's Modesty is also comedy.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a good season to watch anime, despite what the scores say. Again, as of recording, it's still only week 2 of spring 2025. So there's plenty of time for you to, change your tune and figure out whether these things are going to be shows for you to watch.
Yeah. Don't forget dramatic score changes throughout and even at the end too. So that's how it goes. But this will be the end of our episode. Will, do you have anything left to say?
Sword of the Demon Hunter is so fucking good. And I implore everyone to watch it. But it's going to be super fucked up, and hey, who doesn't love a fucked up anime? I fucking love them.
Yeah, I'll roll with that.